assemble and stand by in quarters for your structure. Fire Route 212 Lake Hill. Mountain Trapper, you're requested to assemble in quarters.
And welcome everyone to the League of Extraordinary Podcasts, ladies and gentlemen. This is as we're finally back together. Well, almost everyone will be here. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the host of Devious One, Ivan C. from Circle Debate. Of course, with my other host, mi familia, my family, my blood, mi sangre, todo. Let me go ahead and introduce, of course, because he is Mr. Call Up himself, because he calls you up when he needs you. And that is right, Mr. Kenny. The Call Up Podcast. What is going on, my brother?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, Kenny.
That is right. And of course,
yeah, Kenny.
We have, of course, mi hermano, mi familia, coming from Ontario, Canada. And of course, not only he has the Queen of Podcasts, but he's also the king of interviews. He is straight. Yes, he is Mr. Straight Talk himself, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, George Mackay, Straight Talk Wrestling.
What's going on, League of Extraordinary Podcasters? Man, it's been a minute. It feels weird. I think the last time we did this was December, and I was like shit talking you all kinds, Ivan. That was it. Shit talk. No, because both you were on that one, but like Kofi came in and Kofi's like said something, and Ivan just looks so angry. He's like, "I agree with you." And he just said it so like monotone. It was like, "What the hell?" So like uber aggressive for absolutely no reason. So the rest of the show was like, I agree with you. And then I tried to, we were on Rewind on Saturday, and I tried to throw the joke out, and it went right over his head. I'm like, the man who always agrees with me, Ivan. He's like, well, I don't agree all the time. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell just happened here?
He forgot about that.
I forgot about it until he just remembered, reminded me right now. Shit. And of course, I have my brother, one of the kings of New York, because he gives the people what he wants, ladies and gentlemen. And that is good brother Bove, the Dirty Heels podcast. What's going on, good brother? You're on location.
Yo, I'm out here in these streets. You already know it's been a long time. Shout out to my brother Kofi Weaston. Shout out to the whole league, OG league in this bitch. I love y'all. Let's get this shit cracking.
Absolutely. Let's get this shit cracking, man. What a weekend, man. What a weekend of fucking WrestleMania, man.
Yeah.
Besides WrestleMania, we had Ring of Honor. We had Impact had theirs too as well. So, WrestleCon had it. It was just so much. But today we're only here to cover WrestleMania.
It was like sex. I enjoyed it. It was like sex and drugs all this weekend to me. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I loved it.
Oh
sex
man,
and drugs, man.
Yeah, right. Like with the Bunny Ranch version, right? Being on the whole weekend, but nothing but wrestling, sex, and drugs and alcohol, right?
Damn straight.
But man, before we even start off with night one, just very brief, I want to talk about the Hall of Fame. What were you guys thought about it? Like, especially the Undertaker's speech. It was a very long speech, but very emotional, especially when he said, "Never say never." So I'll take it to you, Kenny. Your thoughts, very brief, of Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech.
I thought it was good. Like as soon as he came out, and I saw the microphone. He had the little microphone to like his ear and stuff like that, to like the whole mouth thing. I was just like, yeah, he's not standing on this podium. Like, yeah, he's going to give us a TED talk. Like,
right.
We're gonna go back in time. I thought it was great. I thought everybody in the Hall of Fame was great. Like they were just like it it didn't bore me at all. Like I literally was like, normally when I watch the Hall of Fame, not for nothing, I fall asleep and then I wake up and somebody's still talking. You know what I mean? I think like everybody did a fantastic job. I love how Undertaker just went back to everybody and like thanked the people who like, really helped him out in his career. It was amazing.
Oh man, definitely. George, what are your thoughts about the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, like Kenny put it into great perspective. It didn't really bore me. Kept me interested. It moved quickly. I thought the Undertaker speech was fantastic, but I mean, Shad's wife and his son coming up there had a lot of great stories to tell. When she called out JTG for like not helping at the gas station, I thought that was pretty funny. And the Steiners, like when Scott Steiner came out, he's like, they gave me a live mic. Do they not know? I thought that everybody kind of they kept it in perspective. Everybody got their like moments in and stuff like that, and they kept the one speech that really like the highlight of the Hall of Fame. The last speech should always be the longest. Everybody else kind of stayed within their time frame, which was great. And it already got me thinking about who's going to be next year, right? Because I mean, Triple H retiring now, he should go in solo. He already went in with DX, but he should go in solo. Rey Mysterio's probably going to hang it up after this year. He'll probably be an addition for next year. There's a lot of possibilities of who could get it. The only one that I still scratch my head on, only because I didn't really think she did that much defining stuff in wrestling, was Queen Sharmell. I mean, yes, when she came out with Booker T back in the day, she did have influence in that storyline, but I don't think she's Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, I don't think any other female should go in the Hall of Fame until the original diva, which is Elizabeth, goes in. After that, everyone can follow. But until Elizabeth goes in, just doesn't make sense, my honest opinion. I mean, that's the first lady of WWE. She should be in there a long time ago. And I understand there's this cloud of darkness around her, but fuck, I mean, you put Moolah in there. She was pretty much a pimp. Fuck. Sonny's in there. She's spent most of her time with her legs up in her hair the last fucking decade. So, like, I mean, what's the difference? At the end of the day, if somebody lost their battle with drugs, there's nothing to shy away from. She still had defining storylines in wrestling. That's my honest opinion about that. But other than Sharmell, everybody was great. Even Sharmell was great, except for Booker saying, "Hail Queen Sharmell" like 30 times over, bro. We get it.
Because nobody else in the crowd was cheering that except for him. That was it. Like, not even her kids was doing it. I was like, okay.
I went downstairs to change laundry when that speech started, and I came up and it had been 8 minutes. I'm like, fuck, she's still talking?
Yep.
Oh, man, yeah. Good brother, what about you? What are your thoughts about Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech? Uh-oh. Can you hear us, good brother?
Uh-oh.
It's like, little technical difficulties there on his side.
Thanks for the internet.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. What? Yeah. No, yes, no.
There's a glitch in the Matrix.
It's a glitch in the Matrix. Good brother, can you hear us? Looks like he's losing connection there. All right. Well, I mean, I agree. Especially what you just said about Queen Sharmell. Yeah, I feel the same way. But although, yeah, I do agree. I think Triple H should be the one next year. Should be headlining. Well, Mysterio, that actually makes a lot of sense. I still want this to happen. I've been saying I'm gonna keep bragging about it until it happens. I need Dominic to turn heel on his father, take over the Phantasma League, and have him fucking just say Eddie was my real father, take away his mask, and fucking retire Rey Mysterio. That's what I want to say.
They are kind of planting seeds for that, right? I mean, look at what Dominic wore. He wore during WrestleMania. He came out pretty much honoring Eddie Guerrero. Guerrero wore something similar along that line, right?
Yeah,
so a long time ago. So, I mean, I feel like that's where they are going. They're planting these little seeds. But the one thing I have to say is about all the storylines leading up to WrestleMania, everyone got their spots in. The promos were tight. The storylines were curved correctly. And it just made for 2 very entertaining days of wrestling, even including NXT. And I haven't watched 2.0 in a very long time. But to sit back and actually watch Stand and Deliver, I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, other than the women's match, the only reason I say that is because I fell asleep. It put me to sleep. And usually I'm the first one to say the women's match in NXT is always fire. But for some reason, that match put me to sleep. Maybe just because I don't find Mandy Rose to be a believable champion. But I got to say, WWE's turned a corner with their writing. At least leading into this WrestleMania, everything was tight. From Kevin Owens, the promos, even Logan Paul and fucking The Miz, the Mysterios, everything was on point. Everything was on point. Like there was not a bad lead into this WrestleMania for any storyline whatsoever, and everything went pretty much the way predicted for the most part. Kenny and I kind of disagreed on a couple things on Rewind, but I mean, I did get a couple things right. I actually got quite a bit right. I was like 3-0.
You know what? I was just me personally, not for nothing. I was like, you know, I'm gonna go against the grain on a lot of stuff, even though like with WWE is pretty predictable. Like when it comes to these certain things, like you know, I know we talked about the whole Happy Corbin and Drew McIntyre thing. I'm still standing by that. I think Happy Corbin is a really good entertainer. You know, I was really entertained with that match between the two. You know, I love the ending of just him just like slicing the freaking rope. You know what? And that popped a lot of people. Like when the people that I had in my house, when that happened, the first thing they did was like, holy shit, like did he really just do that? Like, you know what I mean? My son was just like, well, there goes the rest of the show. Like, and I was like, no, like they can fix the ropes. They can put something else.
Those rope guys back there waiting.
Yeah.
They're waiting.
Like trust me, they got like 1 million ropes back there. We're still gonna have WrestleMania. But other than all, I think WWE showed exactly what they're what they're all about, and that's entertaining, families. You know, they show that like when it comes to their big event, they're gonna go all out, and they did. They had the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Freaking Pat McAfee just amazed me even more with like the stuff that he did, where people was just like, "Yo, did he really just jump on the top rope like that?" Like, yeah. Like your man has hops. Like he can get up there. You know what I mean? I could have done without the whole Vince McMahon thing, but it was funny to see like Austin come back out and they have like that little interaction there. I thought that a little bit of nostalgia there, and I was like, all right, like that's cool. And then like the whole Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar thing, as much as we built into this, this feud, I thought the match could have been better.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I want to go ahead and get into night one very brief. Let's try to keep our answers as short as possible.
Yeah.
And here we go. Show the night one card here. What I know they changed this one for night two, which was the New Day, but so far this is the card for night one. Let's get into it. I mean, the first opening match was the Usos versus Nakamura and Rick Boogs.
And
right?
Boggs. Boggs or Boogs. Yeah.
Boogs. I always call him Boogs.
Well, I thought one of the announcers was going to slip up and say Rick Boobs. I thought they were going to say Rick
I thought so too.
I really did, man.
I was waiting for that too, to be honest. I was waiting for that. But let's get into it. I mean, I'll say very brief. It was solid, but it just sucks for Boogs, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Bad moment. I know he wanted his moment, but I feel bad for him. But hopefully, wish him very well to the speedy recovery. But go ahead, George, take it away. What are your thoughts about the opening?
You know what?
match?
Just to keep it brief, I touched on this a little bit in that kind of prediction show that we did. The fact is that if the Usos lost the title, that means Reigns was going to drop to Brock Lesnar. That's just the way I look at it. Everybody says the bloodline, or a lot of people I've heard talking saying the bloodline doesn't need to be dripped in gold. Right. Look at the best factions of all time. At one point in time, they had all the gold. You look at Undisputed Era most recently in NXT. There was a point in time where they had every male championship in that organization, in that faction. You look at Evolution. There was a time when Randy Orton and Batista were the tag team champions. I believe Randy Orton also held the Intercontinental at the time, and Triple H was the world champion. So, like, a lot of times, factions' successes are defined by championship runs. So, look at the Shield, right? You had Reigns and Moxley as tag team champions. Moxley then had the U.S. title, so forth and so on. So factions are kind of built around the success of how many championships they hold at that given time. It shows true power. So if the Usos had dropped, then I knew that they were going to give it to Brock. But when the Usos retained, I already knew which way it was going to go. To touch on a little bit, I know we're going to get into it later, but to touch on it briefly, the match surprised me and entertained me. And that's hard for me to say because I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fan. But we'll get into that later, of course. But if the Usos had lost, we already knew which way it was going to go. But despite the fact that, you know, you don't want to see anybody get injured, whether you love him or you hate him. I'm not really all over on Boggs or Boogs or Boobs or whatever the fuck his name is.
Don't call him Rick.
It's called Rick.
I'm not all in on Rick, but I will say that you never want to see anybody go down. You never want to see anybody go down in any form or fashion. So that sucks. And speedy recovery. He looks like a pretty strapping fellow. So I'm sure Physio he'll much like most wrestlers, he'll come back ahead of schedule. I'm sure he will, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely. Kenny, take it away.
I wish I would have seen more of this match because it was at points it was slow, you know. So you had to do like those kind of spots, and unfortunately, he tried to go for that really big spot of picking both up, and you know he messed up his quad and stuff like that. But like if they would have gave it to Nakamura and Boobs, like for me, I would have been like, you know what? Then you have to do something with these tag team titles on SmackDown. You can't do like what you did before, where you gave Nakamura the IC title and he didn't defend it for 6 months, to the point where like nobody remembered that he was even IC champ, because they were just like, okay, someone's IC champ, we just don't remember who it is. You know what I mean? What's next for the Usos? I have no idea. I guess just being behind Roman. If I was WWE, I would have the Usos freaking face RK Bro. I mean, Roman can go to Raw and SmackDown. Might as well take his cousins with him.
Hold on, y'all. Can I please say something?
Yeah, go ahead. We're waiting on you, Bo. Go for it.
Yo, I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this shit. StreamYard don't love me that much, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? But I wanted to say it doesn't. Technology don't love me that much, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to say one thing before the shit fuck up. I'm gonna be honest with you. WrestleMania, it was trash. It was a lot of moments. It was a few moments, but all around it was trash. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Because a lot of people got buried. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit. Like for instance, the Intercontinental Champion wasn't there on the line like that. The United States Championship was on a lot of things. You know, I'm real battle. Now you feel you can back that up, made that a Scott Hall real ladder with the RC title line. That battle up. Austin did tremendous. You feel me? So after doing 19 years, he did tremendously. You know what I'm saying? Roman and Brock shit, it was expected. Bianca Belair, basically shit was predictable. You feel me? Kind of how you just bury my man stuff like that. You know, it was alright, but then it was trash. But who?
Gonna lose him soon.
I know.
Yeah, we're gonna lose him again.
Let's see. You there? Oh yeah, we're gonna lose him soon. Yeah.
He's
gonna. Yeah.
Maybe. No.
Maybe.
Matrix.
Sub-Zero, man. Sub-Zero. You'll figure it out. Let's see. You can figure it out.
I got the gist of what he was saying, though. And he's right. I mean, I thought the same thing. How are you going to put the IC title on Ricochet and not have him defend the strap? How are you going to – I mean, there's a lot of matches. I mean, no offense, the New Day and, Sheamus and the guy that fucked up Big E. Again,
Ridge Holland.
Ridge Holland. That's like a SmackDown. That's a Friday night SmackDown match. That didn't deserve WrestleMania time. Same thing with, to be honest with you, Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin. I don't think that deserves WrestleMania time. I think WrestleMania is one of those pay-per-views. I know we have Night of Champions where every title is defended, but WrestleMania, if you're a title holder, you should be on the WrestleMania card. There was a lot of matches I felt that didn't need to be on this card that were entertaining nonetheless. I could see Drew McIntyre versus, Happy Corbin any day of the week. Didn't require a WrestleMania build, in my honest opinion. So I agree with what he's saying about that. A lot of ways, WrestleMania was very predictable, but predictable nonetheless. It gave you that touch and its nostalgia. Kevin Owens did a great job taking care of Stone Cold, and he sold very, very well. He made sure Stone Cold didn't have to overwork in any aspect. Stone Cold got his legendary spots in, which were great. And I mean, what an honor for KO, right? I mean, when a guy comes out of retirement 19 years, they pretty much get to handpick their opponent. And for Stone Cold to say, you know, Kevin Owens is the guy I want to work with, that's a testament to who he is. And it's a shame that Kevin Owens hasn't held gold in a very long time in that company. It's been a long time since that Universal title reign. Very long time.
Yeah. He never even got a rematch for that either.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he never got a rematch. You're right. And that's a travesty, right? I mean, the fact that a guy like Bill Goldberg could go in and just rock him and the Fiend in very, very subpar matches and get to headline WrestleMania fucking twice just boggles my goddamn mind. Boggles my mind.
Definitely. But you know, you spoke about McIntyre, Happy Corbin. Yeah, I agree. That match should have been on a SmackDown. But we all know those are Vince's two favorite guys, and of course he's gonna put them on the main, the main show. Of course, he's not gonna put them on SmackDown. Look, yeah, he put the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on Friday and the IC title on Friday, which is an unfortunate. It doesn't make any sense, and I definitely agree with that, especially with the whole passing with Scott Hall. Should kind of commemorate the Intercontinental and make it prestige out of WrestleMania, but unfortunately they didn't actually go towards that direction. So, but overall, this McIntyre Happy Corbin match was all right. I did like the little sword thing, of course. You could tell that Madcap Moss was timing it. Okay, I got to jump right now before he throws the sword. If
God forbid he gets hurt.
Yeah, because then he'll really get hurt. And then, oh, shit, we're going to see him close to almost like, murder scene right here at WrestleMania. But
hey, listen, they'll clean up the blood and the show will go on.
Yeah, the show will go on no matter what.
Happened with Owen Hart. We all know how that went down.
Yeah, we already know how that went down. Yeah. But this one, I mean, I get it. It was all right. I went with my heart and McIntyre won. I know you wanted Happy, Kenny, but
you know what? I wanted it, and at one point when he hit him with the End of Days, and I was like, oh, there it goes, and I was like clapping, and then he kicked out, and I was like, yeah, this is over. Drew's gonna win. Like, fuck it.
I'm not gonna lie, when Drew kicked out of that, I was like, haha, fuck you, Kenny.
I knew it too, because I was just like, no, for nothing. I was like, when he kicked out, I was like, fuck, come on, you gotta be shitting me. I was like, this should have been over. And then I was just like, he's gonna win. And I put that sad, if we could just put a sad emoji face on the screen, like, all right, like good. It was good for what it's worth. And then he pulled out the sword and did the whole thing to the rope, and I was like, yeah. It's done.
You should have had him dressed up like William Wallace. He should have came out with his face painted blue.
Oh my god.
I would have loved that. I would have been like, yes. I love it.
Oh man, but I mean, like I said, the match was good. What do you think, George? The match was solid. Was it okay?
You know what? I mean, it was very predictable. I mean, as much as I love Drew McIntyre, and you know what? I will say this: Happy Corbin. I'm not really a fan of the character, but this is a guy who's been much like Triple H early on in his career. He had those high moments, and then because of backstage heat, he dropped right back down. I mean, look how quickly he dropped the when he had the Money in the Bank briefcase, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they made him lose it in a squash match. So Baron Corbin is a guy that's pretty much went from going against the system to falling in line, and they've given him multiple avenues. They've kept him on TV. Love him or hate him, the guy's worked. I will say that. But the match was highly predictable. You knew which way it was going to go. I mean, for a split second when he hit the End of Days, I leaned back in my chair, but then when he kicked out, like I said, 3 words, fuck you, Kenny. But the fact is that it was highly predictable. This whole WrestleMania was very, very predictable. You knew which way things were going to go, because if they didn't, then the storyline builds didn't make sense. Like, the only thing that was a little bit of a swerve for me, which was surprising, was Miz and Paul getting the win cleanly in some ways, but then Miz going from heel to face in like 10 seconds. There's only one wrestler in wrestling who could do that, and that is The Miz. He can go out, be hated, and then 10 seconds later get one of the biggest pops of night one when he gave a skull-crushing finale to Paul. So as to what the build is going to be for that, I'm not sure. But I will say this. The celebrities this year, much like last year, they put the work in. Last year, Bad Bunny put the work in, and he looked decent. This year, Paul put the work in, McAfee put the work in, and Johnny Knoxville put the work in. All three celebrities did their jobs. They didn't go out there and just have a botch after botch type of match. They actually went out there. They did some cool shit. Logan Paul's power slam looked picture fucking perfect, almost like Braun Strowman, if you will, in a lot of ways. He did it solid. And I don't know. I just, all in all, as much as it was predictable, which every WrestleMania is, even most AEW pay-per-views are predictable. Any pay-per-view is predictable if you're a wrestling fan. You can just read the storylines and you know how it's going to work. But does it take away from the fact that you enjoyed your ass off for 2 days? Fuck no. It absolutely does not. You were still entertained. Some matches where I was like, I knew that was going to happen. I still had a smile on my face. I had a big smile on my face when Drew McIntyre won, just because I had to. I love Kenny. I love the Call Up podcast. Is one of my favorite podcasts out there. I listen on a regular, and that's the truth. But the fact is that sometimes you just gotta speak it straight up, and that's what some of us do. You know what I mean?
So you know what? WrestleMania Backlash. Happy Corbin will get his victory. We're gonna get a rematch,
and that's fine. If that happens, that's okay. But at the Showcase of the Immortals, he did not. That's an L.
That's fine. That's fine. He still has the fact that he retired Kurt Angle in his last match in my hometown. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'll take that. I'm gonna live in the past like everyone else.
He still has the fact too that he was one of the highest paid waiters in all of the world for like a year and a half when he would come out looking like a waiter at the keg. Sir, can I start you off with some bread? Yes, you can. I will take that.
Talk about it, Kenny, about that tag match, Logan Paul and Miz and Mysterio. What were your thoughts about that? Were you impressed?
You know what, man? Shout out to Logan Paul for putting that work in. Okay, he looked great. Okay, and not for nothing, I think he did a way better freaking frog splash than Dominic Mysterio. I think Dominic's best frog splash was at WrestleMania when he did it, because I think he just didn't give a shit about Logan Paul and was just like, you know what, I can hit him, and I don't have to. He's not going to be performing tomorrow or on Monday or any other time during this week. So if I fuck up his ribs, it's okay. And he jumped high, hit that frog splash, bam, and hit it hard, and it just jumped off and let his father hit his. And I was like, shit, it's about time you learn how to do a frog splash, because Logan Paul did it way better than you did. You know what I mean? So, I mean, shout out to him. I mean, I could see Logan Paul again coming back and having another match. You know, obviously, most likely, we're probably going to end up seeing him again versus The Miz at WrestleMania Backlash. I think, like, if we look at some of the way everything ended in Mania, like, a lot of these are going to be like, okay, we're going to see this at Backlash. We're going to see, like, Logan Paul versus The Miz, we're going to see at Backlash. I think the tag team titles, we're going to end up seeing that at Backlash too. I think Gable Stevenson, when we get to that point, you know, we're going to end up seeing him at Backlash too, like a quick one-off before he starts training even more. But yeah, Logan Paul all the way. I'm a fan. Like, shit, bring him back again.
I like the fact that he got heat, and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that heat he was going to get from the crowd, especially him mocking, you know, doing the Eddie Guerrero on the top of the, you know, on the top of the rope. And I'm just like, yeah. And then do the Three Amigos. So I was really impressed with him, the way how he sold and the way how he was doing the moves. So kudos to him, like how George mentioned too, that as of recently, we've seen these celebrities actually putting in the work. And we are seeing that, and, you know, and I'm very impressed. And seeing The Miz, what he did, of course, he needs to have his moment of shine, because at the end, even though they won the match, what other way to get his 15 minutes of fame? Turn his back, of course, on his partner in crime. And how you mentioned that we might see that WrestleMania Backlash. I think we will. And plus, Miz does a great job working with celebrities. He knows how to get them over. That's one thing he has a history of doing, is getting people over. And so I'm looking forward, if that does happen in a WrestleMania Backlash, then that's a must-see for sure. And he's going to probably help Logan Paul to get over. So, I mean, we might see. I don't know. You never know. But I'm looking forward to seeing that. Let's see what Devin says here. Logan was very impressed. Yes. I definitely. That's what he needs to do. Work the crowd. Now, to the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. What an entrance for both of them. I can tell you that. In the beginning, I could tell you that I know she looked more like Lady Gaga, but for 1 minute, I'm like, man,
I thought it was David Bowie, man. I don't know. I felt like listening to Major talk. Like I really felt David Bowie vibes on that. You know?
Me too. I got that like that vibe, and also that Cyndi Lauper vibe, and for some odd reason, because it's a color, Boy George in a way. So kind of like a mixture of all of them that we mentioned right now. It has a little mixture of all of them. It gave me that vibe of her, like just her appearance and then everything else. I didn't mention on Rewind. This match had to be storytelling in the ring because the outside of it didn't really got me in until the last couple of weeks, barely. But now this match, if you notice that it was opposite. I was expecting Bianca more to hit more of the power moves and Becky kicking out. No, it was Becky the one hitting most of the power moves on Bianca, and she was the one kicking out. So that, and I had a feeling it was going to be that way, but I didn't expect the opposite of it. But this match, congratulations to Bianca, and her, she finally got her moment. I did love that entrance that she had too, with the Marchman. So I enjoyed it. I'm happy for her. So, but what's going to be next after that? So I'll take it to you, Ken. Your thoughts about the match?
I mean, it's about time that they gave her back another WrestleMania moment, which is great. But I like you said, like, what's next for Bianca? I mean, we have a couple of ladies that are waiting in the wings to jump back in. You have Asuka, you have Bayley, you have Lacey Evans. Like, these are all women who are waiting, to see what's going to happen next for them. And what better way than to, like, hey, bring Lacey Evans back in, have a little feud with Bianca Belair, because I don't want to see Bayley lose again. And Asuka's, we've been freaking clamoring for her to come back. Now she's, could possibly return this week. And shit, I would love to see her on SmackDown. But let's just hope that WWE does something great with her title run. It's not for nothing. When it comes to African-American talent in WWE as champions, WWE drops the ball every single time. Let's look at Bobby Lashley. Let's look at Big E. And let's look at Bianca's run. When she was already champion, it wasn't the best for all three people. So, I don't know.
Even Kofi. Kofi as well.
Well, not nothing. I liked Kofi's run as champion because he had some solid people to go up against. He had Kevin Owens. He had Samoa Joe. He had Randy Orton. Like, he had some people, and then they fucked my man at the end and did a complete squash match for freaking SmackDown and give it back to Brock.
Yeah. Your thought, Mr. McKay?
You know what? I think that I feel like she's 2-0. I mean, we never talk about streaks until they're 10 or 12 deep. But all I'm saying is it wouldn't be a bad idea to give a streak to a talent like Bianca Belair. Young enough where she could carry it for quite a few many years. Solid enough, had 2 decent matches both times. I mean, obviously last year's match was way more special than this year's, just for the simple fact that last year's was like a real need to see Bianca Belair step into that spotlight she so rightfully deserved. This year was more just, I got to get vengeance for what happened, 7 months ago. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's definitely a lot of women waiting in the wings, but I also feel like this is a time for Bianca to shine. And yeah, you're right. When it comes to champions, African-American champions, they drop the ball huge a lot of times. But I feel like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you on Bobby Lashley. I thought Lashley actually had a solid run. I thought they really built up the almighty gimmick well. And they did great with having MVP as kind of like his mouthpiece. What I didn't much care for was how only a short while after losing the title, they bring him back into a program with Omos. I didn't understand any of that. I thought that was just, that's another match that didn't need to be on WrestleMania. So regardless of the fact, Bianca Belair is now 2-0 at the grandest stage of them all. That's, the stage of the Immortals. And I feel like there's a possible chance where we could get another streak going. And I think this is the perfect person to do it. Why not? Mm-hmm. It's not unlikely impossible that they could do it. They've already technically done it. So they could build her all the time. It doesn't have to be for gold on the line. It could just be rivalry type matches. Every time the Undertaker had a match at WrestleMania, it wasn't for a title. A lot of them were, but a lot of them weren't. So why can't they?
Absolutely. And what I've been seeing around the IWC community, been seeing she could be the fellow 4 horsewoman killer. She already beat Sasha and already Becky. Could be the next one, Bayley and Charlotte. That would be interesting if they use that and have her be like, yeah, I'm the one killing the 4 horsewomen. And that'll be something they should be able to use and take advantage of that as a storyline. That's if, depending how they, move with her to what direction they're going to go with her, still have her as a face or even turn her as a heel. You never know as of right now. And what's next for her, yes, I'm hoping could be Asuka. Maybe like how you mentioned, Kenny, maybe Lacey Evans could be another one. Because right now, Raw is hurting on the heel side of the women's. I mean, who else do you have? I mean, you could put Shayna, or you could put Natty again. But, no disrespect to those women, but it's not going to build up. It's not going to be intrigued to the fans, in my opinion. But they need someone someone unexpected, like a Lacey Evans, for example. Maybe that could be, something. Or just to piss people off. Screw it. Bring Mandy Rose. Freak it. Fuck it. Who cares? That's just me. But, we'll wait to see what happens tonight on Raw. I'm looking forward to seeing Raw, after WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to seeing that. All right. And then, of course, yes, the most best kept secret in professional wrestling. Oh, wait a minute. Really? Well, if it isn't Money Mike.
Money making Mike.
Oh, no, he's here. Oh, no.
Oh, he's muted.
He's always muted. You're muted, Money Mike.
He's going off, and he doesn't even know he's muted.
He's going off. He's going to check his audio right now. Check your audio. Nope, still can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I'm still being a heel. I muted his mic.
I slowed down his internet connection. So.
There you go.
I thought you did that to Brother Bove.
Oh wait, I can hear you, Mike. I can hear you, Mike. No.
He's like thumbs up. No, he's like.
You might want to check your connection, Money Mike.
It's the wrong gimmick.
That's right. But yes, he is now. Cody Rhodes is WWE. And
listen,
there you have it.
Can I jump into this real quick? Can I jump in?
Testing.
Listen,
there
we go. Now I can legitimately hear you now. I promise.
Yes, excellent. All right.
So let's I want to touch on this for a second. Okay, this is a man who like 5-6 years ago was offered a contract by WWE for less than subpar money in the world of wrestling. I believe the number was somewhere between 200 to 300,000. So if you're a guy who knows in your heart, you know what you're worth. Everyone knows their worth on this earth. They know what they're worth. They know what they should be making. So this is a man who said, no, I'm not going to take that. Went on the indies, cut his teeth on the indies because, again, he was kind of grandfathered in through his name, through his dad, through his brother, lineage. He didn't really have that indie run. So he went on the indies and shocked the world. NWA champion, had a lot of great matches, a lot of great rivalries. Then he goes ahead and he kind of co-founds a company with Tony Khan and all the rest of the members of the Elite, Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And you know what? AEW was a great run. And I thought for sure in the post-press conference he was going to talk trash like everyone over at AEW had when they came over. This is the place to be. This is where we want to be. But he didn't do that. All he said was, I enjoyed it. No one wants to be an executive vice president. You just get thrown into it. And then when everything falls on you, I did this for the fans. They were still pissed. I did this for the fans. They were still pissed. So at this point, I'm like, fuck it. But at that point, he had earned his money. So to come back and get offered a multi-million-dollar contract, he basically took 6 years. He revamped himself. He came in. And you know what? I don't think necessarily he squashed Seth. I think they told a great story. And I think it was logical for him to win because if he didn't win, what's the point? What's the point of him coming back only to get fucked over again? He wins. Now they put him in with a main event player. They saw what he can do with the main event player. They know that he can hang. And now you put him in a title picture, but you don't put him in a title picture for the IC title or the US title. You put him in a title picture for one of the programs. I wouldn't mind seeing Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. I know the outcome, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. And that's just my 2 cents on it. But I think all the marks can say what they want to say. People going on Twitter the next day, fucking burning toys and shit. Like, go ahead. You want to spend $30 to burn it? You're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. You're a fucking idiot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why? Like, you know how much money? Like, all the shit behind me. You think this shit was fucking free, donated? This is like money. Okay? This is fucking money. This is every autograph was paid for. You know, except for, I don't know, there's one or two that my kid got because she's more adorable than I am, and I know that she got it for free. But regardless, the fact is, why would you want to do that? And he didn't sell out. He fulfilled his contract and he moved. We burned his toy. Daniel Bryan jumped ship. We don't burn his action figures. I got 2 Daniel Bryan action figures right there. I didn't burn them. Like, what are you, 5 years old? Like, at the end of the day, you already paid for the toy, so burning it doesn't hurt him. You already got your money. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. But that's my 2 cents on it. So, you know what? Kudos on Cody Rhodes. I thought the match was decent. I didn't think it was the greatest match I've ever seen, but I thought it was decent. And now we know that he can hang with a main event player, and any reminiscence of Stardust is gone.
Oh yeah, it's obsolete. Delete, obsolete, delete. Yes, it is deleted. That's right. Talk to me, Kenny. Your thoughts.
It was so weird because it felt like they just took AEW's Cody Rhodes and just put him right in the little spot of the Undertaker spot of just coming up from underneath the ring, and then that was it. Like, we got the same entrance, we got the same music, we got the same gear, like the tattoo, everything. I loved it. Now WWE is under the microscope to a lot of talent from AEW, and I like how Cody said, like, if somebody from AEW comes to me, I'm gonna tell them the truth about, you know, me going over to WWE and my experience, which is great because now you have a guy who left WWE, went to AEW, left AEW, came over back to WWE. He's gonna be like, okay, you know, a lot of these guys are gonna say like, okay, let's see what happens with Cody. He's the guinea pig right now for a lot of these guys that are gonna their contracts are gonna be up soon. You know, Wardlow's name's been thrown around as somebody who's, you know, could potentially leave AEW. MJF has been trolling people saying he's gonna leave, you know, AEW and go over to WWE because he's been wanting to be a WWE entertainer since he was a kid. You know, so like a lot of these guys are gonna look at this and say like, okay, what can they do for me now that I'm in this company moving on to another one?
I love that. Money, Mike.
Not just any other company, WWE. That's the if you're in wrestling, your goal is to headline WrestleMania, to main event Raw, SmackDown, whatever. That is the spot that you're aiming for. And from what I gathered from what Cody said afterwards of the match, he didn't think that door would be open or that going back to WWE would be a possibility for him. So he kind of had closed the door on that, but here we are, right? And honestly, like the pyro right before his entrance and all of it and everything that went on, you know, can get the chills right here, man. It was fun. It was great to watch. I loved it. You know, and I'm an AEW guy for sure. Ivan will tell you. Yes, Mr. AEW right here. There, and of course, we definitely agree on that sort of thing. But WWE did it right, man. I credit where credit's due. I trash WWE whenever I see fit, but here I will give them all the credit that they brought him on, and it felt awesome. What a sight it was! It was so surreal to see that sort of thing. But now, where do we go from here? They panned over to Seth Rollins, giving him a look. Will that continue? Is that storyline going to unfold even more? So, you know, I'm interested in seeing what is said tonight on Raw by Cody. And I'm glad that he's not trashing AEW or saying, "Oh, screw those guys" or whatever. It almost shows, you know, it does show class in that regard. We don't know what happened, what really happened. It could have been terribly, you know, he said it was personal or something like that, but we don't really know what happened. So, you know, it has nothing to do with what happens in the ring. So I'm okay with not knowing. So it's whatever's. What I do know is that I enjoyed that match, Rollins and Rhodes. So I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Oh man, me too. And of course, Seth's telling him, "Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch!" And bam, I love that. I love that. So it's, of course, Cody didn't want to be an executive. He wanted to be more of a pro wrestler. And for him mentioning he feel like he already accomplished everything in AEW, but in reality, he did not really accomplish much. But he did
what he did. Sorry to interrupt. What he did accomplish was the fact that everything the fans think about it as a VP. If he booked himself in a title picture and he won it, they would have said, "Oh, he did that because he's the vice president." But then he goes and he loses. He takes himself out of that title picture. The only belt he can hunt for is the TNT title. And he goes and he has some great matches. That dog collar match with Huber, one of my favorite matches. It is. It's one of my favorite matches in AEW to date. It was a great match. And the fact is that we don't know. Like Mike said, we don't know what went on. But all I can tell is that in this business, never say never. The door is never completely closed. They've proven, WWE has proven that time and time again with Ultimate Warrior. I never thought I'd see that motherfucker in the Hall of Fame after the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD. I thought bridges were fucking burned because of all the shit that. And I'm a Triple H mark through and through. But even in that DVD, I was like, dude, you're a bitch. Like I was pissed. I was pissed because I knew everything he was saying was complete bullshit. And just because he was Vince McMahon's future son-in-law when that DVD was being made, he did what dad-in-law told him to do. But the fact is that I thought there was a lot of bridges that were burned, and yet they've mended fences all kinds. They mended fences with Macho Man in the Hall of Fame by getting his brother to come over. Both bridges were burned with the whole Poffo family, and they were able to mend those fences. So never say never rings true. Undertaker saying it is the best thing. I'm not saying that he's going to come back in the ring, but all I'm saying is when he says never say never, that should be the model of WWE, because a lot of doors we think as fans are closed, they found a way to open and bring people right back through. So at the end of the day, I like Mike said, I give WWE credit for everything they did for Cody, but in the same aspect too, like again, I'm an AEW fan. I love the product. I hate the president. Tony Khan, I think his ego is just overinflated and overbloated, and his ego will be his undoing, and that's the truth of the matter. I can like a product, hate the owner, and that's fine. But the fact of the matter remains too is that I find a lot of times, like the first time you have sex, AEW is looking for that quick pop orgasm. Then it's like, what do we do now? What do we do? Where do we go from here? A lot of their storylines, the middles feel very flat. Only the beginning and the end is solid. But everything in the middle is like you trying to find the right hole. Just doesn't work sometimes. So that's my honest opinion. I'm not shitting on the product. I still love the product, but I feel like they could definitely take a lesson from the way WWE handled certain things this weekend. Not all the time, because don't get me wrong, WWE shits the bed consistently. Kenny and I, we already talked about that, especially when it comes to champions of color. They shit the bed. But in the same aspect too, this weekend, they gave the fans everything they wanted. And even though some people think it was trash, some people think this and that, I agree with what Bob said too in a lot of ways. That's the great thing about wrestling fans. We can all have an opinion, and it can be a respectful one. I saw Mike's eye twitch when I started mentioning shit about AEW. I saw him twitching. And listen, again, I'm not
talk shit.
It's like my fists.
I'm not talking shit. I'm speaking truth. I'm speaking my truth, in my opinion. My opinion is the fact that AEW, a lot of the time, the meat and potatoes of the storyline doesn't deliver. The meat and potatoes of the storyline. It's like when you go to a club and you find this beautiful girl and you're hitting on her all night and you take her home, boom, that's the pop, that's the entrance. Then you wake up the next morning, she rolls over and you're like, fuck.
What was I thinking?
I have beer goggles on. And then the end of it, and that's the whole middle of the story. And then the end of the story, the culmination is you trying to figure out, fuck, is my fat ass, at least for me anyways, my fat ass going to fit through that fire escape window, or do I got to go through the front door? What the fuck's going to happen now?
Let's go through the front door, my friend.
Go to the front door.
No shame in that.
No shame on that. But yeah, what's next for Cody? I cannot wait to see what will happen now. And we're all hoping, which we'll get into this brand split is over, but I'm happy for Cody. That he's back, and I cannot wait to see how they're gonna book him. And I'm looking forward to see what's going to be, next for Cody and who's going to be. Maybe what says, yes, it might continue. I believe him until, WrestleMania, Backlash after
I'd like to see him go up against Randy Orton. Reignite that feud.
Ooh,
And we never saw
yes. I would love to see that. Yes, I would love to see that. So I'm looking forward to see how how they book Cody, and I'm happy that he kept everything, and I'm hoping that he's the one that trademark everything himself, his theme song, his everything else. Make sure that I'm hoping that he came with Vince with a deal, okay, but this is still mine. This doesn't belong to you. I'll let you use it, but it belongs to me. Just like how AJ has his name trademarked, Samoa Joe has his, how Adam Cole has his when he was there. So as long as he has, the power of that, good for him. Other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. And let's see. So, Devin, just don't mention the AEW rankings, George.
Don't worry. I'm not into the ranking. My ranking system is my own personal ranking system. I already got Mike's side twitching. And I saw a few times that he wiped the sweat from his brow. Mike, sorry, did you say something? Mike, I can't hear you. Mike, is your mic off? Mike, is your mic? Mike,
testing. No,
Mike. Kenny, can you hear him? I can't hear him.
I can only hear. I can't hear. No. You sure? I think you need to upgrade. You know what? You need to upgrade your technology.
I did.
Mike, sorry.
There we go. Hi, Mike. The more you talk about AEW and you piss him off, you can see the hat is starting to slowly go back. The curl is coming out, right? All right, watch it. Fucking supervillain's gonna come out. He's gonna come behind that fucking door.
First time Mike and I have actually been on a show together.
Kent is on his way out. I'll tell you what.
The last couple times I was on Circle Debate, Mike was like, "Fuck that white guy." I know it. He's racist.
Oh man. Let's get into the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte.
Do we have to?
Fuck, that shit was I'll give you a quick wrap up. This shit was a fucking bore. That's it. Move on.
Ahead. All right. Go ahead. George, take it away. Kenny gave this 2 cents. Nothing much to talk about it there.
I don't have anything else to go on. That's the build right there. Okay. Listen, the match was trash, and in my honest opinion, it was the weakest match on night one. It really was.
To each their own, though. At least we got to see something pop out.
Oh yeah, I mean, the doctor did a great job.
On my TikTok, I couldn't resist when she came out and she did that. I snatched a quick 10-second video and I put shares. Do you believe over top of it on TikTok? It got like 50 views. Very happy about that.
I saw somebody sent me. I know what Mike is talking about. Because somebody sent me a picture. Like at one point, Charlotte did some type of move. She fell on her back, and her tip popped out. And I was just like, okay, we've seen this before. Charlotte's the only person that I say looks way better with clothes on than she does without.
Thank you. And I don't understand how for somebody who's had so many great moments in matches, this culmination. And the thing that blew my mind was that the announcers are like, we're gonna get to see Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. We already did. Even though it was a triple threat, we did. We've seen this. This is not something new. I love how the announcers, or should I say WWE, or Vince McMahon in the headset tries to think that we're stupid. Play off that we're seeing this for the first time, but we're not.
Survivor Series.
Yeah, exactly. It's happened before, and it didn't make it any better. And the finish at the end was just fucking retarded. I'm sorry, everything about the match just felt flat. But I will say this: there was a lot of rain checks in that match. They were hitting legitimately, and you could tell that there was legitimate hatred there. Because
it was a lot of receipts. That's for sure.
Hard. So. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. I agree with I you know what? I acknowledge that, Devin. I acknowledge that.
We acknowledge you, Devin. We acknowledge you. You should be here, but I know that you're probably working. But yeah, I feel the same. It's an unfortunate. It was the worst match for night one, and it sucks, for both of them, especially for Ronda. But I didn't expect her to lose though. I actually was expecting her to win, and I did not expect Charlotte to come up with the victory. The finish got me like, what the fuck? Like, what?
I expected Charlotte to win. I did expect Charlotte to win because Ronda coming back, she didn't want to be there. She just had a baby. She wants to be at home with the kids. This Ronda coming back was a ratings grab. They were hurting. They wanted to bring her back. They wanted to beef up the ratings. That's what it was. I did not expect Charlotte Flair to not walk out as champion. I just thought the finish could have been a little bit better. These are two gifted athletes. They really could have done something special in the finish. I felt that they just kind of gave up. That's what it felt like.
And of course, the main event we've all been waiting for. And of course, we did not expect it. But, you know, for the KO show, Austin shows up. And of course, KO, I didn't just call you here to have a conversation. We'll call you here to have a match.
That's right. That's how we do it in the North.
Yes. Yes. And man, when the referee came out, I shit you not, I think everybody was feeling this way. You guys were fucking feeling Ned Flanders because I was. And I was like, oh shit, it's gonna happen. I had my broken skull ready, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And the match happened, and I fucking lost my mind. I was scared, ain't gonna lie. I'm pretty sure everybody here was like, don't do that. And especially when you took a suplex in the cement, I was fucking shitting it. I was like, oh no, oh my god, he's really hurting. I was really
if you go back to that suplex, Owens cradled a lot of that. Owens actually had him up a little bit further than he should have. So Owens took the blunt of that on his back. Like I said, Owens did a great job of taking care of Stone Cold on night one, and he let Stone Cold get his spots in. And again, what an honor for Kevin Owens, like I said at the beginning of the show, to be able to be handpicked by Stone Cold Steve Austin. That means the OG anti-hero of our business sees something in Kevin Owens. And I thought the chemistry was great. I thought the 12-year-old Kevin Owens was probably like, this is the coolest fucking shit ever.
Yeah. And yes, hola muchacha Wendy. Of course, she was Ned Flanders too. But yes, you mentioned it, George. And not only that, Austin blessed them by having him using the stunner. This is the main reason why Kevin Owens resigned. Like, Bucks, love you guys, blah blah. No, I'm staying here because I'm able to have my dream match I've been wanting to have, and Austin did it for this individual. I love it. It was, and from here on out, this should be now. Kevin Owens should now be a future world champion coming up this year. He should be by the end of this fucking year be a world champion.
Like you close out Mania. You basically had the main event at WrestleMania without a title being on the line. This, this is the matchup that we wanted to see. You know what I mean? It wasn't the unification of titles between Roman and Brock. You have your own chair. You have your own Mania chair. Because night one of WrestleMania was a cartoon version of Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like when I saw this, I was like, I need to have this. I saw nice 2 chair, was just a picture of Roman and Brock, and I was like, I don't want this shit. You know what I mean? But hey, like I thought, like when I first saw the first chair, I thought like, oh shit, they're gonna do the same thing with Brock and Roman, and they just had a regular picture. I was like, okay, never mind, I don't want that. But to see Austin back, fighting the way he did, I was like, that's that 14-year-old boy watching his freaking hero, kick ass. Where the kick's a little slow, I was like, yeah. So and I was just like, oh, please don't die, please don't get hurt, like please don't break anything. And he was like going to the top of the stage, and I was like, oh my god, he did it on the stage. I was like, oh please, God. But he got it real quick. I was like, oh. I was like that parent watching his kid play sports for the first time. I was like, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Yeah, you did great. Yeah. Like my wife was just looking at me and she was just like, you got to sit down. And I was like, no. I'm not going to sit down. I want to, and then until this match is over and I know he's okay. And she just looked at me. She's like, oh my God, you're the absolute worst. I was like, then don't watch this with me. All right, leave me alone.
I had the biggest smile on my face the whole match, but I popped when he looked at Kevin Owens and he said, you stupid son of a bitch. I was like, now it feels like home again. Now it feels like back in the day. Like it was great nostalgic feel. And like I said, Owens did a great job of taking care of him. And if, like you said, if Owens doesn't have a strap around his waist, a world heavyweight caliber by the end of this year, then again, they're just they're just going to piss away one of the best talents they have on the mic and in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yes. Money Mike.
Man, what fun this match was. And honestly, as soon as you mentioned the chair, I actually had not checked out Night One's chair. It looks pretty cool. The art of it looks really, really cool. And I like that they put the logger on top of there, right? Very cool design there. And yeah, they definitely should have done that for Night 2, but meh, it happens. Let's see. Owens and McAfee lived out their dreams of an entire generation sharing a WrestleMania moment with Stone Cold. Yes, very true. And we didn't even get CM Punk and Stone Cold. That didn't even happen, but we got Owens and Austin. And yeah, I was right there. I did sit. I did get to sit, but man, I had a smile on my face the entire match because I was 15 again. I was back in middle school. I was back in high school, and to see Owens hit the stunner on Stone Cold, I was like, whoa, like, that's a huge honor at WrestleMania. I don't think that's ever happened outside of a match or in another match, or maybe The Rock did it, I think. But other than that, man, like, what a huge honor it was for Owens to be able to hit that. And I'm pretty sure he's always going to remember that for the rest of his life. So,
oh yeah. For sure, I'm pretty sure he was crying backstage, and I mean, I think I was crying too. Like, oh my god, I was crying, like, to see him win and seeing KO. That's what really made me happy throughout the end. It was just more KO because he got his dream match that he wanted to have with his idol that he grew up with, and I'm happy for him that that's his bucket list. And now nobody can top his Mania moment at this time right now. I don't think anybody can top his Mania right now. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know who.
Very hard to top for sure.
Yeah, name me someone who could top Kevin Owens' Mania moment right now. I don't think anybody, as we speak. If we go back to prior WrestleManias, I don't think nobody has KO's. No, right?
Because it was a full-on match. It wasn't like some segment or anything like that. Like if it would have been just a KO show, I mean, I'm sure it would still be up there for him. But definitely top 5 or top 3 WrestleMania moments for sure.
Oh man, what's going on, JD? How are you? She's putting in her audio.
While she gets herself together, I'm actually gonna cut out because my son is like looking at me like, Dad, I'm hungry. Feed me dinner now. So, guys, thank you for having me on. And I will continue listening to you guys on my my laptop.
All right, brother. Appreciate you for coming in, man. Much love, hermano.
Later.
Hello.
Oh, hello, JD. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. We finished wrapping up Night 1. That's what we finished. We were just talking about the Austin and KO moment that I don't think nobody right now has KO's, could be KO's Mania moment. Nobody has his moment right now as we speak.
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody. So I'm happy for him. So for Night 1, who stole the show? Which is the main event stole the show, right? I think we all can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. What?
I respectfully disagree. I'm a Cody guy. I know hashtag anybody but Cody and whatnot, but for me, Cody stole that whole everything about it. And because I guess I'm an AEW guy, seeing that sort of thing, I don't know. For me, it just that stole the show. That's not to discredit Austin or what happened there, but yeah, if I had to pick one, I would go with Cody and Seth Rollins. Don't shoot me.
Not going to shoot you. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. However wrong it might be, you're entitled. No, but the fact is that everyone's going to pick a different match. There are going to be some people out there who are going to think that Ronda and Charlotte were the match of the night. There are going to be some people out there who are going to think that Happy Corbin is the greatest talent in the world. Actually, one of the people just left. Kenny's gone.
Yeah, Kenny's gone.
Kenny's gone, and he's not. And again, the fact is that Night 1 was entertaining and how that nostalgic feel. And we had some surprises, some predictable surprises that we knew were going to happen, but we had them. And Night 1 was great. Night 2 was also great. So we should get into Night 2, I think.
All right, let's get into Night 2 then. But so, JD, who stole Night 1? The main event, or who do you? Or
Well,
everyone might?
first of all, I was very surprised that they actually went through with Stone Cold Wrestling. I really I knew they kept saying it, and it's like, okay, maybe he'll do like a stunner or something like Undertaker did in the Mania against John Cena, where it's something really quick. But the fact that it was an actual match where they went out into the crowd and everything like that, and Stone Cold taking bumps with the suplex and everything like that. KO is just living the dream. I mean, all of us growing up as Stone Cold Steve Austin fans would love to be in the main event and take a stunner or two and start wrestling him all over the night. So that was definitely the moment for me. Um, I was I was shocked that we got AEW Cody because with every person that's coming to WWE or even people coming up from developmental, they change something about them, whether it's the theme, the name, the gear, move set, stuff like that. And so I was so shocked that we got everything with AEW Cody. I mean, he had the entrance, the look, the gear and stuff like that. And so I was very surprised because once Vince got involved with the storyline, I figured maybe Cody will interfere in a match or something like that, or show up at the Monday night at the Raw after Mania. But the fact that Vince said it'll be a person of his choosing, and his choice was Cody Rhodes, that's what I was mainly surprised about. I loved the match between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. I felt as though that was a really good match. I wasn't too high on Charlotte and Ronda. It just felt like a forgettable match for me as well. Um, what else? Because I'm mixing nights together, I feel like. Um, but yeah, as far as night one, I was very sports entertained.
There you
I
go.
was I was sports entertained. I was pleasantly surprised because WWE really didn't build up this WrestleMania very well for them to constantly use the word stupendous and everything like that. They didn't build it up very well, but what we got was very good. Definitely one of the more enjoyable WrestleManias from top to bottom recently. I know a lot of people are saying it's the best of all time. Let's give it some time, really think about it type of situation. There are other manias out there.
There's other manias that are better than that,
Manias
but
out there.
17.
Exactly. But, as of recent, especially with the pandemic and everything like that, yeah, this was a really good moment, especially if this is the first full mania since the pandemic that we got. But yeah, night one, I'm very sports entertained.
absolutely. All right, night two. Let's look at the card of night two. This was really, really interesting. I want to get everybody's thoughts overall. So, I mean, we'll open the match. RK Bro versus the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. I did choose RK Bro to retain, which is unexpectedly. So, I'll take it to you, George. Your thoughts about the opening match for that?
You know what? The fact that they started both nights with tag team matches is pretty cool. I mean, I'm a tag team guy. I like tag team wrestling. I thought the match from night one was way better than the match from night two, just because I'm not a big fan of Otis and Shorty G or whatever the fuck his name is this week. I'm not overly into those characters. I did think the Gable Stevenson spot was pretty cool for what it was. I mean, he kind of got put into a situation where if you look at it, you got Matt Riddle, who's arguably one of the next mans up. You got Randy Orton, who's arguably a Hall of Fame bound already. And you got the Street Profits, who are very much in the mix with being one of the best tag teams right now in WWE. So the fact is that he kind of got blessed by all these different avenues of backstage talent to have that moment with them. So I thought it was great for what it was. Yeah, if RK Bro didn't retain, I don't think it would have been as entertaining as it was. But all in all, the match was okay. I mean, if you ask me which tag team match was better, night one's match was way better than night two. But all in all, it was decent. I mean, it wasn't the worst. The worst match on the card was Bobby Lashley and Omos or Amos, or that was just god awful. That was the cigarette and refill your chip bowl match. For sure. For sure.
I agree. JD, your thoughts about the opening match?
It was fine with me. I actually didn't choose RK Bro to win. I kind of figured that maybe they would continue on because once they started to use the word friend with, Randy Orton. Normally shortly after there's either a turn or something like that. So I was kind of expecting for a turn actually from Riddle. Kind of give it a bit of a different
Me too.
dynamic with a WrestleMania season, instead of it always being Randy Orton. So I kind of figured that Alpha Academy would take the titles to kind of continue on the whole story with Chad Gable and with Otis and everything like that, and maybe get them involved with the Street Profits instead. And that way we have Randy and Riddle going against each other. The Gable Stevenson spot was fine. I felt as though it was overly done, seeing as though he got that big introduction in night one. I feel as though, for him to get the big introduction with Stephanie McMahon, him coming out and everything like that. And then what we got with night two, and probably what we're going to see more of him tonight, it's like, you're giving us a lot, but we need to see a bit more action. I mean, that's what we got tonight, but, we need to see him in a match or something like that. It feels as though that this is an introduction, and then we might not see him a while again, like we did last time he was introduced. So I'm willing to see a lot more of him. It seems like they might be gearing up between him and Chad Gable to kind of get like that wrestling versus wrestling dynamic going as well. But which I don't know how that's going to work out with him being in the tag team and stuff like that. But as far as between the two, I wish that the tag team match with Nakamura and Rick Booz wasn't so short because of the injury. But yeah, this was fine. This match was fine for me. I mean, all teams got their spot. Of course, RK Bro with the double RKOs and stuff like that was very fun to watch at the end. But yeah, I did enjoy this match though.
Money Mike.
Yeah, I particularly enjoyed that RKO that Riddle did off the top rope or from outside of from the apron into the ring. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if he's done that before, but I thought that was pretty cool. The match itself was, it was all right. It was cool. It was a good way to open the pay-per-view, or night two, I should say. And I don't know. I guess I haven't really been keeping up with WWE lately, so I wasn't familiar that Shorty G, or whatever his name is this week.
It's his real name now, Chad Gable now. He's Chad Gable now.
Oh, okay,
he's not Shorty G no more.
Yeah, I didn't know that him and Otis were a thing. And so
Neither did I. I was just as surprised as you last night. I was like, oh, okay.
Like, okay.
Oh,
okay. You know what Chris called him last week? He's like, oh, it's Bear Country versus Private Party and Arcade Bro. That's what he said. Oh, that's so fun.
Oh my gosh, I won't be able to unsee it.
Mike didn't find that funny. Mike didn't find that funny at all.
How dare you, good sir?
Sorry, Mike.
Hey,
Mike's cut
hold your other host.
I can't hear you, Mike.
Oh, wait, what? Wait,
Mike?
you all right?
Hey, that was your other host. That was Chris who said that. So he said that last week when you were gone.
And that'll be the last time he said
that.
that.
He also put George St. Pierre in his top 5 for Canadian wrestlers. Don't even get me fucking started on Chris. He's not here.
I told him to come on in, but I think he's taking a nap. But yeah, I mean, this match was a great opening. It was good to see having everybody have their spots. Yeah, I'm with you as well, JD. What's going to be next for Stevenson? I don't know what they're going to do with him, so we'll see how they're going to develop him in NXT 2.0. I think with moving Braun Breaker out of there to the main roster and Ciampa moving up as well, I think we'll be seeing him very soon. Making his debut in 2.0. Yes, this match, you mentioned it. We shouldn't even talk about it. I feel bad because I don't know. There's nothing much to talk about. This you could say was the worst match of night 2. Lashley almost. I feel bad for Lashley, but does it hurt him? Not really. He just came and just squashed a giant. That's it. But yes, it was not a great match, and I don't even know why it wasn't in the card in the first place. I think we talked about it earlier that this should have been a SmackDown match. But I know they wanted to book Lashley, have him get his Mania payday along with almost. I was expecting actually, Stevenson to be the one going with almost, going up there and challenging him and doing like a little quick move. That's what I was expecting in the beginning. But then when they announced Lashley right away, on Raw before Mania, I'm like, oh, okay, this is. I was not a fan of that, but. I understand they need to get their payday, so they just put him in the card, which I think it should have still been in SmackDown. But I mean, is there really anybody wants to talk about this? Because there's really nothing much to talk about in this match, honestly.
I just
There
hated
really
the
is.
way it was built. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
hated the build. I felt as though if you wanted it to be Lashley, first of all, Lashley just lost a title that he didn't technically lose, and they didn't even reference it. So I felt as though, you had Roman and Brock on the Go Home show. You could easily had Lashley come out, return against Brock, mention how you have the title that I never lost. I'm coming for the title, and then have Omos come out, talk crap or whatever to both of them and say, I'm ready for the big leagues, and then have Lashley go like, you know what, I'm come after you, Brock, next, but let me handle, little guy, whatever, over here. I felt as though Bobby Lashley winning this really didn't do much for Lashley or for Omos. This was the whole no one ever knocked him off his feet. And it's like, okay, so what does this win do for Lashley? He was just champion, and he lost the title without technically losing the title. So it's like, what happens next with him? What happens next with Omos now? Like, I get that you wanted them to have their payday, but I felt as though you definitely could have done this a different way to where as though it makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, I know I lost my title, but let me take care of Omos real quick.
Yeah, but it's not the first time they've done that to a champion. Kevin Owens got
No.
squashed by Kevin Owens got squashed by Goldberg, and he never had a rematch. We talked about that earlier.
Yep.
The Fiend got squashed
Kofi
by
Kingston,
Goldberg. Yeah, there's
Biggie.
been a lot of
It's
squash
been
matches.
happening.
Exactly. And so they don't ever really, when they fuck up a champion's run, they're not going to have the champion reference it, because at that point you're taking a shot at the back. So the only way your champion's going to reference it is if you're fucking CM Punk and you're going to do the pipe bomb, which was scripted. Oh, I guess a lot of more talk. Oh, I just look at Mike. Look at Mike. Oh my God. The hat just went back another inch.
You can't see the steam coming out because of the headphones.
We couldn't hear you the first time, man, because the steam was coming out.
All right. This one I honestly thought was gonna be another worse match, but I was actually, you gotta give good credits to. I don't talk about the Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Sammy this sold for Knoxville, and he did a phenomenal job doing it. And even though he lost, but hey, kudos to him though. Kudos to him. So damn, who's happy was that? Was you Money Mike? Oh, that was me. No, that's not me.
Oh, us here in Canada.
Central.
We don't have sirens.
But I had but I had to give it to Sammy, man. Another one that who resigned. Another person should be a next one in the main event picture coming by the end of the year as well. Maybe. Hey, I don't mind seeing Sammy. Why the hell? Why not? Why not have? Okay,
Sammy. Listen, Sami Zayn.
Talk about the match. Go ahead.
The match was great. Like I said, like I said earlier, all the celebrities put the work in. They all made themselves look very, very good. Much like last year with Bad Bunny, he put the work in and he made himself look good. The problem with Sami Zayn in the main event picture, he's just not believable as a champion. And that's the honest truth. Everywhere he's been a mid-card guy, and he will stay a mid-card guy. Sami Zayn is the guy you look for to fill a role when you need a role filled. Sami Zayn is a great utility player. Sami Zayn is a great cheerleader for a guy like a Kevin Owens, or even a guy like a Drew McIntyre, if I will just use an example, like those guys who are main event players. Sami Zayn, unfortunately, the highest mountain he will achieve will be the U.S. or the Intercontinental title. He'll always be in the mix for those titles because that's just who he is. Sami Zayn is great on the mic, probably better than most people give him credit for, but his wrestling is subpar. And I mean, he can't do what he used to in the Indies. He can't do what he used to when he was El Generico. That's when he was special. But when you're in WWE, as we all know, your move set goes from this to this. And Sami Zayn is not great when he's only limited to this. And that's why Sami Zayn is a mid-carder. He will be a mid-carder. The only reason why Dolph Ziggler is NXT champion right now is because he threatened to leave. So they gave him a shot to run, which I think is overdue. And I think it's a little bit of a slap in the face, to be honest with you.
It is.
He shouldn't be the NXT champion. He should be fighting in the minute. The last time Dolph Ziggler held a championship was over a decade ago. The Miz, 2-time Grand Slam champion, they make him lose it the next night. I get the storyline built for it, but you're going to finally give this man a shot to be your champion, only to lose it. I wanted to see Angry Miz Girl again. I loved Angry Miz Girl. When I was younger, I was the biggest Miz fan ever. I still have the Magnet Chicken shirt upstairs. Okay, it doesn't fit, but I still fucking have it. The Miz is fucking gold. Okay? The Miz is straight gold. And it sucks that they have these champions and they're not utilizing them properly. That is where WWE fucks it up on a regular. That's what I will say.
Yeah, definitely.
You know all that Miz fandom makes me forgive you for all those disparaging AEW remarks. Almost.
Mike, are we having a moment here? Mike, are we having a moment?
Looks like it.
It seems.
It looks like it.
Hey, you know what, Mike? I'm gonna let you take me out to dinner, man. Shit.
Oh man, I already can hear the song.
But I did still say I love the product. I said I can hate the owner, but I can still appreciate the product. I did say that about AEW. I appreciate the product, but it's not always perfect, and nothing is. Nothing is perfect. Look, I'm a big MLW fan, and they shit the bed on the regular. They shit the bed on the fucking regular, but every once in a while, they get it right, and when they get it right, oh, it's picture perfect. So, any wrestling organization, if you think it's perfect, okay,
that's a problem.
That's it, right? That's it. It's your opinion. That's it. And it's not taking anything away. I have just as many figures as you. To say I'm not a fan would be stupid. I'm not a fan of AEW. Hold on. Let me just cover these up. I'm not a fan of AEW. I don't like it at all. It would be impossible to do that. But you get the product's not perfect, and that's the truth. But anyways, back to you saying I'm great for being a Miz fan. I am. You're right. I'm awesome. I am.
I love this. JD, take it away. What are your thoughts about this?
I'm a fan of both. I mean, of course, I've been watching WWE for a lot longer, but I'm one of those people, like, both of them are good, both of them can be bad. And so I have issues with both. I have issues with both companies. I have great things to say about both companies. As long as, you're providing a good show for us, you're, using your wrestlers to the best of their ability, that's what makes me happy. As far as with this match, it was very fun. It is what it was. This is this is something you should fully expect. This is Jackass. I expected all the Jackass crew to come out and for the crazy spots and stuff like that. So this match served this purpose. As far as with Sami Zayn, I felt as though Sami Zayn was his best in NXT. And I felt as though they kind of missed the window with him there. And he's always been great as far as with tag teams. I think I agree with George that it would be, mainly the IC title and stuff like that. But WWE sometimes is that type of company where they'll give a title to someone, just because, like we saw with The Miz. They gave The Miz the title for 8 days, whatever. Who else? It was a bunch of people who they gave the title to that really didn't deserve the title, but they did it just to
He had it for under 24 hours, and he lost it the next night in front of his own father. That's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
It's people who they give the title to just to give the title to. But Sami Zayn, he mainly serves his purpose. He's a character, when he has to play, whether it's the conspiracy or whatever they tend to throw at him, like, he will do the best of his ability to do what he needs to do. So he fits WWE because WWE is all about characters and storylines. And Sami Zayn did great with this feud between him and Johnny Knoxville. I've just found out the number that they gave out was actually his number. Someone told me that they actually called in is actually his phone number, apparently. But yeah, as far as with like I said, back to this match, I enjoyed it. It served its purpose. I was laughing my ass off with some of the spots that they were doing when they was trying to do the mousetrap at the end and Johnny couldn't get it to set it off and stuff like that. Pat McAfee and he did it himself and it hit him. I was like, you know what? And they was trying to do the mannequin leg and, poor Sami Zayn had to stand there wobbling like a Mortal Kombat character to try to wait for them to get the spot off, and Pat McAfee had me cracking up the whole time. So this was a very entertaining match. What is it technical or anything like that? No, it's not going to be technical or anything, but it served its purpose of entertaining us with this ridiculous, like, no holds bar match.
Definitely. And I hope they take away that Hogan Andre and they put the Wee Man body slapping Sammy said. Someone made, I think it was Nando that did it from Half K. I think he put it on Twitter. I was like, oh shit.
I was shocked when he did that. I did not expect him to pick up Sami Zayn like that.
Yeah, but
That
where
was
was
amazing.
Steve-O? Can I ask that? Did anybody notice that Steve-O was MIA last night?
Yeah, I noticed
Right?
it too. I was
Yeah.
expecting him to show
Like
up.
I was
Going
thinking
on
for
that,
sure
Daddy.
Steve-O was going to do something. I thought Steve-O was going to be underneath the ring, like on the big mousetrap, going to like do something like that, like typical Steve-O. And when they did the finish, I was like, "Fuck, man, everybody's there but Steve-O. Like, what the fuck happened?"
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Can I just
I
say,
thought it was Steve-O when it was the party boy. I thought that was
Yeah.
Steve-O at first. I was like,
no.
oh wait, no, it's party boy.
No, but then when he
Yes.
came out, and I was like, "Oh God, please put your clothes back on for the love of fucking God."
All the tearaway pants right away. I knew exactly what was about to happen. I was like, hey, we about to enter PG-13 territory right now. So
right?
I missed remember the big fat guy that had the bow tie and the oil? Like that
Yes.
motherfucker was blue. That guy had hot. Hardy Boy was fucking a letdown. Trash. Mike, I interrupted you again. My apologies. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, it's all good. I just want to say that please, 2K, if you're gonna do the next WWE game, please give us the giant mousetrap.
yes.
Can we have that,
Yes.
please?
I need
You know,
that.
it's if there was ever a time, do it. 2K.
Yeah.
I won't charge you. Make it happen.
Make it happen, right? Oh man, but go ahead, Mike. Overall, your thoughts about the match? Were you entertained?
I mean, it was a fun match. It was exactly what I wanted. A match with these guys in it, right? It's exactly what it was meant to be. And I was honestly, I did not think I would be entertained as much as I did. And you know, I know some people, you know, with their noses in the air, like, I don't know. But in the end, I'm pretty sure they all laughed too. You know, with the whole mousetrap thing and the party boy and Wee Man with the WrestleMania 3 like slam. Yeah, all of it. It was great. It was entertaining, and that's all. I'm all in for that.
Oh man, definitely. And then we're all in for the fatal 4-way match of the Women's Tag Team Championship. We had Sasha Banks and Naomi winning the tag team titles, defeating Selena, Carmella, Rhea, and Liv, and Natalya and Shayna. Very brief for me. The match was okay. I think everybody had their spots, their moments. I did kind of wanted to Liv to have her moment, but realizing that forgot that Sasha never has won in a Mania, so I'm happy that she won at Mania. Finally, she had her moment. It's about time. She should have been having it in the first place. But that's another topic to discuss. But this, I mean, it was overall great. It was okay. I know that a lot of people saying that, oh, it was just a filler to add on, and it is an unfortunate. But overall, the Liv and Rhea attire. I overheard, was it a Catwoman and they said something else. Donnie
It's supposed to be
Darko.
Catwoman and Batman, but
Yeah.
I gotta say, Liv Morgan looked very similar to a certain bunny in a certain another 3-letter organization. That's all I'm gonna fucking say.
Yeah.
As soon as she came out, I was like, I don't know if they mean it to be a shot, but I feel like they're taking a shot. But and then also somebody said, Liv Morgan, you can whip me. And I was like, this is too much. I don't understand what's happening here. Oh, yeah, it was Kayla Braxton on Instagram. She fucking took a picture and she's like, Liv Morgan, you can whip me. And I'm like, you know, I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be fun. I don't know if I really need my 11-year-old daughter bringing that to my attention. So Kayla Braxton, maybe watch what you throw around on Instagram. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah,
go ahead, just talk about it. That match.
Listen, the match was what it was. You know, Sasha and Naomi were the only ones logically, and it did feel like a filler. It felt like there's not a whole lot for any of these women, and they're just kind of threw them together and like, okay, listen, we're just gonna makeshift tag teams. And we're just going to hope for the best. There wasn't really a true tag team in the mix. Even Carmella and Queen Zelina, it's the same. They're all makeshift tag teams. The only true tag team I would have to say would be Natalya and Shayna because they've been there before. But in the same aspect, even there, we're throwing again. This was just because, okay, we don't have enough for all these women, but they deserve their WrestleMania spots. So let's just give them something. If anything, I'm still waiting for the China Battle Royale to come back, because why has that not been they were going to name it Fabulous Moolah and they didn't? What happened to that Battle Royale? Where was that one? Did I miss that one?
They got rid of it.
It's gone.
Half of the
It's
roster
gone,
is gone.
right?
Women's
As
division.
They can't fill it.
As quick as it was there. Yeah, you're right. They can't fill it.
They can't fill it.
It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. But kudos to Sasha and Naomi. I thought they had a great match. I love that finisher. The fucking backstabber into the rear view. I thought that finisher is really cool tag team work for sure. But I mean, the match was subpar. And now it's just us, and I'm sure there are going to be no children watching. Yes, by all means, Liv Morgan, whip me. Okay.
Get in line.
Get in line.
Get in line.
No problem, Katie. I will wait. I will wait until you're through. It's okay. No problem. You got it.
Money Mike. Talk to Money Mike.
Yeah, the whole women's tag team division does feel like makeshift tag teams. It just, well, okay, you and you. Go ahead. Go out there. And it just feels that way. And it is somewhat unfortunate, right? But I feel like some of these women do kind of make, I don't know if I can cuss right now, chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo, right? And like, for example, Sasha and Naomi, you could see that they were having a good time out there. They were enjoying being tag team partners. So, you know, I think that they make the best out of it, and it showed, especially after the win. I do feel, or I do wish that they would put some emphasis on tag team wrestling for the women. They got rid of the Iconics, which I do to this day believe that they were tailor-made for this division, and they got rid of them the same day. So, you know, there's that. But overall, I'm glad that they got to have their entrances, got to have the WrestleMania moment, and, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. JD.
I was very excited when they first initially introduced the women's tag team titles, because I felt like maybe they'll do a little bit more with the women's division. But as we see, like, ever since Sasha and Bailey had dropped it, it just became like just a title. And it's a shame because NXT treats the women's tag team titles with more prestige than the main roster. And you can tell, like, it still means a lot to Sasha. I didn't even realize that she never won on a Mania before. And so once I realized that, I was like, okay, because I was actually going for Liv and Rhea to win the titles. But I'm happy that Sasha and Naomi had won the titles, and hopefully with their win that they will try to push to do a lot more with the titles. Unfortunately, they pretty much either broke up or got rid of every women's tag team that was in the division. So it goes to show where their priorities are as far as the women's tag team titles. And now we got these, the makeshift tag teams is going to keep going. As far as the match, I hate the setup of this fatal 4-way tag team. Like, it makes zero sense to me for the champions to tag themselves out in a match where they can lose the title without them being in the ring. I felt as though it would have been more impressive if this was like maybe a fatal 4-way tag. It would have been a lot more like creativity for the women versus, I'm gonna tag you in. Oh no, I'm tagging you in. Oh no, I'm tagging you in. It felt like they was playing a game of tag at a certain point, trying not to face Rhea Ripley at the beginning. And I just hope that maybe with Sasha and Naomi having the title, that maybe will, for like Liv and Rhea Ripley, and maybe more for Shayna and Natalya, since they don't really have much going on for a while too, that maybe those tag teams will definitely try to reestablish a women's tag team division. Or else not Sasha and Naomi is going to like hold on to the titles and start, they'll be booked very similar to when Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler was tag team titles, where it was just like they were booked for a storyline versus booked as champions, and the title just happened to be involved in the storyline. But I'm very happy that they won. Naomi is definitely one of the ones that deserves a title reign again. So if this is what we can get for right now, I'm fine with it. But you could tell it really meant a lot to Sasha, and Sasha was one of the big people, one of the people who was really big behind getting the tag team titles. So I'm hoping that there'll be a bit of a push from her to really make these titles mean something.
Absolutely. And she's gonna keep on doing it, and she always puts it on her social media. Like women's wrestling is, it's the best, and I will of course praise her down, and I'll follow her, let her lead the way, and hopefully Vince could change his fucking mind again, and let bring back again that women's wrestling back to WWE. But we'll see down the road. Speaking down the road, man, Edge and AJ Styles, this match. And by the way, just to people have been asking, how did AJ get the cut? There was different angles, and I finally found the angle where he got cut because he bumped himself on the star, like coming the way out. It wasn't the pyro, it was when he bumped himself. So by the time we saw it, and I had to go back and look at the replay, and he did. You could tell that it wasn't the pyro. It was just on the way out as he was walking out, he hit himself, and that's what caused the cut that he had. The match itself, I did love Edge's entrances. Now we know why it makes sense why they trademarked a judge, jury, executioner type of style, and makes sense what they're trying to do with him. And I guess they revealed it that he's going to be having a stable with Damian Priest. We did see Damian Priest out there. Just very brief from my side, the match was great. I wish the ending was a little better, but it looks like this feud's gonna go a little bit longer, and I'm looking forward to see it. I would like to see, if that's the case, bring AJ and Finn Balor, OG Bullet Club, together, teaming up versus this new stable of Edge and Damian Priest. The third member, if they bring a third member in, if there's a trios to it, Alexa Bliss will fit for me. I don't know who else. If you bring a female, but on the female side, I know people are saying that, this is like the House of Black, WWE version. So what if it is? I mean, but I like this. I'm very intrigued of where they're gonna go with this, and we'll see tonight on Raw and see what happens with that. But the match, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Great storytelling, good spots from both of them for me. So I'm looking forward to how this feud will continue. Especially we'll find out on Raw. So, Mr. McKay, take it to you. Your thoughts.
You know what? This match was a dream match, right? It's a dream. People have wanted to see this for a long time. And I felt that, I was really excited. This was the match I was most excited for on night 2, next to Roman and Brock. And I felt that it was flat in parts. Yeah, they got their spots in, and it was the storytelling was solid, but it wasn't great. Not what you would expect from two guys like this. And I mean, the entrance was very reminiscent of the Brood. If they're bringing the Brood back together with Edge as the leader, I'm all for that. Another member, I would actually bring up. I think Ciampa fits in perfectly into the Brood. Ciampa's really solid as a follower for a little bit, but if it's going to implode, I mean, Ciampa versus Edge, shut up and take my money. Like that's got market value all over it, right?
Seriously.
But giving it to Damian Priest was smart. Not a whole lot going on with him, and you know what? To put him up with Edge, that just shows that they see stock in him in the future. So you usually put a young guy with a vet, and it tells a certain tale of where things are going. So I don't mind that at all. I think it was great. The match was a little bit flat for me in certain parts. Again, this is a match I've been wanting to see forever. I must have played these two going at each other on any WWE 2K game that I could get my hands on. But it just felt flat for me. It didn't feel like the big payday. It felt like a lot of matches on night 2 were just, okay, yeah, go. Like it didn't feel like anybody really cared. And maybe that's just a simple fact that the 2 nights, sometimes, like as a fan, you have to, like, we at home, we don't have to pick. But if you're going to the show, you got to pick which night you want to see. And if you got stuck with tickets at night 2, I feel bad for you in a little bit of ways. I just felt night 2 felt flat in a lot of ways. It really, really did. But this match was okay. I give it like 3 out of 5. Like it was for me.
Money Mike.
Yeah, man. That entrance from Edge, man, that got me hyped up. I'm not gonna lie. The match itself was all right. I'm glad that these two were able to have their match at WrestleMania. But Priest, I was very surprised to see him there. And yeah, he could have, or the ending could have been a little bit better in ways of him not just standing there. I wish there would have been some sort of an action that he does or whatever. I think that would have been better. But overall, I think it's a great pairing. And Brood 2.0 or 3.0, I should say. Yeah, let's do it. I'm all in. Sign me up.
All right, all in, huh? All in.
Yes.
All in.
We see it. We got it.
I agree with that. There you go.
There it is. I tell you, horrible. You know what? I'm taking over show. JD, your thoughts on this match? What do you think?
Thank you, George. I had very high expectations for this, and I think a lot of people did, and so that's why this match felt very flat. Because we've seen both of these men put on very good Mania matches before, so I don't know because it felt like with this whole pay-per-view, with the whole night 2, it felt very rushed, and probably because of what was happening with the 2 matches in the main event, that they wanted to make sure it was enough time, but it just felt I didn't like the ending at all. I'm like, since when does someone standing there distract you that long enough? Especially someone like AJ Styles, to distract you long enough for you to miscue that finish there. I was getting like, Brood Ministry of Darkness type of vibes from Edge. It felt like it was a bit of a tribute to Undertaker because he was wearing the black and purple gear as well. I'm happy that Damian Priest is, teaming up with Edge. I was a fan of Damian Priest when he was in NXT. So I'm very happy that they're matching him up with someone perfect as far as storytelling and character and stuff. I think those two would go well perfectly. And as far as comparisons with House of Black, Ministry of Darkness started first,
Thank
so
you.
it's like
Thank you.
you can't. There's no copying or anything. It's just like you take an idea and just make it your own. So House of Black works. This new Brood / Ministry of Darkness 2.0, whatever this is going to be, it's going to work as well. As far as a third person, I would love Tommaso Ciampa to be involved because I am fearful as to when he gets called up to the main roster, what they're going to do. I'm already sad that he lost his theme music. I loved his theme music.
Yes.
But it felt like, as we see what Pete Dunne this night.
Sorry, you mean Butch. His name is
Butch.
Butch.
Sorry, Butch.
Oh,
Butch.
God.
Butch the Chihuahua is what I was calling him.
And
but
how we had the man bun underneath the Old English hat, that was great too.
Yes. But I hope that Tommaso Ciampa is teamed up with Edge. I feel as though with those two, with Edge, Edge can definitely help them out as far as like navigating the main roster and kind of like using a dark persona so that it works on the main roster. Because it works very well with NXT Black and Gold, but on the main roster, there's like always like a slight disconnect unless you're Kane or The Undertaker. Whereas though I know it's Butch. I like to call him Pete Dunne. I like calling him Pete Dunne. I don't see Butch when I see him. It's like Butch is the name of a pit bull, okay? I'm sure if I go anywhere near my neighborhood, there's a pit bull named Butch.
Oh yeah, there has to be a pit bull.
But yeah, I feel as though my expectation was pretty high for this match, and so this match felt flat for me. I felt as though maybe this is like, let's get this match done now, and then we'll get the actual match later on once we get this payoff between AJ Styles and this new Brood faction. But yeah, I was very let down because I know that these two can really go at it, and this really should have been like match of the night for me. This was like the match I was waiting for the whole weekend because I'm a big fan of these two. But yeah, I would give it a C as well. I felt as though it could have definitely went better. Especially the fact that the finish fell so flat. I would have been forgiving if like this all led to a very good finish, but the fact that it all felt flat is just like it really didn't feel like a WrestleMania match.
No, because I honestly thought they were gonna put this one on Raw tonight with the whole debut of the stable. I didn't expect them to do it last night on Mania. That's what I didn't think of that. And then when that happened, I'm like, shit, okay. So that means they're really gonna go for long this feud between them. So that's what we're gonna look, and that's why I guess now it feels flat because of that reason. If they would have waited, maybe the match could have been different, could have been better, because then we would have seen better spots from them, even though they had their spots. But I feel that they could have done better, yeah. But
I mean, yeah. They could have easily done a ref bump and then have Damian Priest appear type of situation. You can make the lights go out, have the crowd pop thinking it's Undertaker, and come to find out it's Damian Priest. Like, there's different ways they could have introduced Damian Priest. It just feels like, it's just, let's have him appear and just stand there like a statue with the weird camera angle to his face. So, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. See, I'm just not, honestly, this was another one. There's not much to talk about either. The only thing I want to say about this New Day and Ridge and Sheamus, kudos to New Day for the tribute for Big E, the attire.
Mhm.
So I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But this is another match that should not happen, in my opinion. Like we talked about it with George and I. This should have been like a SmackDown match. There's really nothing much to say about it. It was just a filler, I guess, for and it sucks because I want to bury New Day because I'm a big fan of New Day, but it's just more like a break, bathroom break, or whatever you need to do, or get your refills. This match wasn't the one for me. I don't know if there's anything to really talk about this one, because I really don't feel. The only thing I just want to say is kudos to them for the Big E tribute. That's all I have to say about it. So I don't know if you guys want to.
That was the only thing really that.
Yeah, I loved it.
Like, that's awesome, but the match was trash.
Yeah. I popped for that. Actually, on their podcast, Big E mentioned that he wanted the three of them to one day wear the singlets. So, and Xavier Woods kind of didn't want to wear it because he felt as though he would look weird in it. So I popped when I saw them wearing the singlets for him. So yeah. But yeah, this match was it wasn't good at all, especially with the Chihuahua. Butch the Chihuahua. I couldn't stand that he kept attacking and Sheamus had to hold him back. I'm like, I don't know who thought of this, that thought this was a good idea to show, like, I guess they went with the bruiserweight type of situation, but yeah, this wasn't.
I'm pretty sure when Vince met with Pete, I don't know, call you Butch. I'm pretty sure Vince told Pete Dunne that
such good shit.
So I'm pretty sure he told him that.
I know.
I know you probably told him that when he met with him. He fucking told him that.
No, man, the way the meeting went down is because Vince McMahon always has to tell these stories. So Pete Dunne sat there and he's like, "Here's the idea. Here's how we're gonna do it. Have you ever seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?"
Think of that, but Paperboy.
Pete Dunne's gonna look at him and be like, "Well, I'm British, so folklore about the American Wild West I can give two fucks about, but sure. Well, we're not going to call you Butch Cassidy. We're not going to call you the Sundance Kid, but we're just going to call you Butch."
And you're going to try to fight like a little Chihuahua.
Oh, my God.
And then
horrible.
Pete Dunne was probably like, so it's guaranteed money, right? Yeah.
Hey, as long as it's guaranteed money, I think that's all that matters. I mean, shit.
Straight up, man. That's exactly the way Vince McMahon did his shit.
But, all right. Pat McAfee, Austin Theory. Obviously, we'll add to McMahon as well. Man, kudos to Pat McAfee, man. And you know what? I'm happy that he finally got the crowd behind him. Kudos to him. I know in NXT, when he had this match with Adam Cole, everybody was like, fuck this guy. He's not going to do very well. And he did impress when he had that match with Adam Cole. He impressed me, and remind you that he was already, before his name was brought up, on television, we knew that he was signed already. He was training to be, because he wanted to be that. He retired the NFL to become a pro wrestler. And I'm glad to see, the exposure he's getting, and I'm happy, where he's at right now. I love him in the commentating. I know some people will say no, but I love him as a commentator.
Yeah, he's amazing, dude. He's
great.
Amazing.
He's great. He's
when
great.
He stands on that table and he shakes his ass in front of Michael Cole. I love that.
Yes.
Shit, man. That shit is. They remind me of very much like JR and the King when they first started. He is so much like the King, and he is so much. Michael Cole is so much like a bitter JR now. Like, it's great. The juxtaposition is great. I will jump in real quick because I do got to jump off, but I will say this before I go. Ivan, it's always great to be on. Mike, it's glad to finally actually have a conversation with you instead of through the chat group, so it's great. JD, You and I have known each other for a while. It's awesome to see you. You're fantastic.
Yes.
Your knowledge is amazing. I will say this: Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, they did everything right. Everything about this match, the build was great, the story was great, and then him actually after he wins, calling McMahon in the ring, McMahon taking the shirt off. Say what you want to say. The stunner was trash. The stunner was this. The fact is, this is almost an 80-year-old man, and he went out there. Did he fuck up the spot? Yeah. Did Austin laugh his ass off after he fucking did? And he even was like, when he was drinking those beers and he looked at McMahon still down there, he's like, fuck it, whatever. You know, like, like if you slow down the clip, he's like, fuck it. And he just smacks 2 beers together. Like, this is, you know, a man who's been out of the ring for 19 years and the godfather of sports wrestling. Say what you want to say, sports entertainment. If Vince McMahon didn't do what he did, you know, fucking almost 45 fucking years ago, there would be no AEW. There would be no Tony Khan. There would be nothing. There would be none of this. Vince McMahon is the reason we're all here talking. Love him, hate him. It is what it is. You got to respect the man. And that's what I stand. And the fact that at 70 some odd years old, literally south going on to 80, this guy took a bump like that at the age he did. And he still looks phenomenal. When he took off the thing, fucking guy's built better than me, man. I saw the pipes. Like, this motherfucker. I mean, he's not built like he was back in the Attitude Era. That was like crazy ridiculous. But, you know, kudos to Vince McMahon for everything that he did. It was 2 entertaining nights, and both crowds got to see Stone Cold, which was special. Because if you didn't get tickets to night 1, you got to see Stone Cold come back on night 2. And you got to see Stone Cold fucking Stunner McMahon, which you want to talk about being 15 again. We all remember that. And we all remember how bad McMahon took Stunners back then. So it doesn't make a difference that he took the Stunner like shit now. But this match was entertaining. It was fucking great. And it's a great match for me to jump off on. Guys, always a pleasure. Ivan, mi hermano, mi familia. I appreciate you, bro. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. I got to take my kids off to dance. Yes, I am a girl dad, and I'm fucking proud of it. Peace, love, and wrestling. Later, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Later, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, man. But take it away, JD. Your thoughts about this Pat McAfee, McMahon, Austin, and Theory match.
This was a fun match. I've been a fan of Pat McAfee. He impressed me. When he was in NXT, I was like, man, you're talking a lot to be, you know, to get your first match. So, but when he wrestled, I was thoroughly impressed with him. Then he wrestled the War Games match, and I became an even bigger fan. And so when he became on the as an announcer, I loved him even more because he sounds like the way we would react to things as well. So it made it very authentic. I listen to his show on YouTube sometimes because he talks football, of course. But I am a big fan of Pat McAfee, so I was pretty excited with this match. He, of course, he did exactly what I thought he would do and impressed everyone. As a Cowboys fan, loved the entrance, you know, with the cheerleaders and everything like that. And then him punting the ball in AT&T Stadium. I wish we had a kicker like that again, but you know, it is what it is. But I was thoroughly enjoyed. I even enjoyed Michael Cole in commentary. Michael Cole's like, look, I'm going to be completely biased. Cheer on Pat McAfee in front of Vince McMahon. Byron's like, you got to shut up. You know, he's right there. And, and Michael Cole's like, yes, Pat. Yes. I was like, you know what? This is one of my favorite matches that Michael Cole has called from like top to bottom. The crowd was completely into it, you know, seeing as though it was like towards the end of the night. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. You know, when I saw Vince McMahon start taking off the tie and stuff like that, I was like, are we about to do this? So I thought maybe this would be like a tease or something, an Austin Theory attack or something. But we got an actual, even, you know, slow as it was, whatever, you can say whatever, but we got a match from Vince McMahon at 80 years old. And he, like, I knew somebody was going to come out because the way he reacted when Austin Theory's music came on, I was like, okay, somebody's coming out, but you know, we don't know when. But having Stone Cold come out and having fun and stuff like that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was happy for the fans because I was like, you know, going to WrestleMania with these 2 nights, you don't know which night you should really pick because, you know, you're going off of what you think could happen. So, you know, I was happy for the fans of night 2 who didn't, you know, go to night 1 to see Stone Cold in the ring again as well. Seeing him and Vince McMahon interact definitely reminded me back of the Attitude Era. Like George said, Vince couldn't take there's gifs out there of Vince taking the stunner back then where he just kind of folded down. So the fact that he kind of like fell back, now we have a new thing for Vince McMahon. I absolutely loved Austin Theory's sell of the stunner. I That's definitely top 5 for me of that. I mean, it was like a cartoon character or something. Especially the height that he got. So it felt like, yeah, the dirt sheets were right. I heard the dirt sheets was like it's gonna be Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon, but I was like, Vince McMahon gonna wrestle a match? But Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon. So um but yeah, definitely it felt like this felt like a Scott Hall type of sell with
Yes,
that
it did.
stunner. Except for the arms and legs were waving this time. It's just I loved it. I loved it. Then he went with, Vince McMahon, of course, and then Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, I was like, Pat McAfee is living the fan's dream. I mean, growing up, loving wrestling, got to be in a match at NXT and working closely with everyone in Triple H. Now he gets a Mania match, gets a match at WrestleMania. Got the great, entrance and everything, got the special entrance, had a match with Vince McMahon, even though he was pretty much on the he didn't get any offense in the match. I mean, it was basically him getting his ass whipped slowly by Vince McMahon, but you really can't be mad at that portion of Vince McMahon because it's Vince at 80 years old. Like, you really expect them to go out like Sting and whatnot to have put on a 5-star match? No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was about to get to that too, but and then he gets to drink beers with Stone Cold, and then he took the stunner. I loved his sell too. The spewing of it, and he just fell backwards, like Street Fighter or something like that. I completely loved it. Stone Cold was having the time of his life, and I was cracking up. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a good moment, and I was like, Pat McAfee is just having the time of his damn life. And I listened to his show today where he talked about it, and he was according to him, he wasn't told that Vince and Stone Cold was coming. That yeah, I know. I was like, he probably didn't know the Stone Cold part was happening, but I'm sure he knew about Vince because he kind of like initiated for Vince to get in the ring anyway. But I was like, the fact that, especially he loves to do the what chance on his show. I was like, you got stunned by Vince McMahon. And it was a good sell too. So everybody's going to be talking about it for a very long time. But I thoroughly enjoyed that match. Definitely. One of my favorite. It was my match of the night was that segment.
For night 2. Awesome. Yeah.
For night 2, yeah.
Hell yeah, definitely. Money Mike.
You know what? I'll give you credit, JD. You made it sound a lot better than I remember it. I'm sitting here thinking, man, that was pretty good. But I'll be honest, watching it as it was happening, I was just like, okay, let's come on, let's get this going. Yeah, I did feel like it was quite a long time that McMahon was in the ring. And yes, 80 years old, all that good stuff. If I was the boss and I'm at 80 years old, I'd probably book myself too. Right? I'll probably be like, you know what? I'll get the wing over McAfee. I do feel that, and this is me just nitpicking here.
Yeah.
I do feel that Austin should have come out to save McAfee before the 3 count. I don't think that McAfee should have or needed to be pinned by Vince. That's just my opinion. But I think that Stone Cold should have come out a little earlier. Then everything else that followed was just fine. It was, I guess, yeah. I mean, again, the way she said it was just, it made it much more fun. It kind of makes me want to rewatch it now that I'm thinking about it. So there's that. And McAfee, my goodness, that guy. And I have not seen his NXT stuff or his football stuff. I know him as a commentator. So seeing everything that he did in the ring was like, what just happened? The Swanton and all that other stuff, it was great stuff. I did not expect that, and I'm at the point now of does he still count as a celebrity participant in WWE? You know, like, is he, because Bad Bunny, I feel like he's kind of taking that role of, okay, you know, he can come in and wrestle, you know, and all that stuff. Knoxville, you know, did decent, and, you know, for what it was, of course. But yeah, I'm starting to see that celebrities, or whoever is going to be stepping in there, they might be getting some pretty good training and putting on some very interesting matchups there. So, which is a great thing, you know.
Yes.
So get Willie Nelson in there in a match, you
Oh.
know.
Old man
Nelson
versus old man.
Old man
Yes.
versus old man. There you go.
Sign me up for that.
Oh,
And one more thing, I loved, this is probably my biggest thing that I enjoyed about this segment, was that even after getting a stunner from Stone Cold, outside of the ring, Pat McAfee was with a beer.
Yes.
He was lying down. He was just chugging it. Even
The beers
after
must have
all
been
that.
good.
Oh yes.
Oh my God, I still need to try it. Oh, it's, you know, my store didn't have it. They only had the regular IPA, but they didn't have the lager. So I'm waiting to try the lager. Oh my God, I need to have it. I need to have it. Damn it. Oh. But yes, the way how you put it down, GD, yes, I loved it. I enjoyed it, every moment of it. And someone on, you know, in the IWC community pointed out something that I didn't look at, and actually did the replay, and it does. When Austin comes out, it comes out at exactly 3 hours and 16 minutes. It does.
Nice.
Yes. Someone put it out there when right at the moment 316 hit, Austin's fucking music went off, and that's why he came out. I'm like, no way, I didn't believe this. I went back and I'm like, son of a bitch, it does. It's 3. So they timed this correctly.
That's why they rushed the evening. Yes, to come out at 316, not 317.
Exactly. So they really rushed it, and I was like, oh my God. And I was expecting Austin to come out. It was awesome. You could tell he looked sore, given those stunners. He was probably sore from the night, you know, from night one. But I was, oh my God. I think right now nobody can top Austin's Theory cell of the stunner, looking like the Street Fighter character. I love it. I don't think right now anybody can top it. He's number 1. 2, Scott Hall. The Rock will be 3, of course. But I don't know who for Kurt Angle. I'll say Kurt Angle 4. But overall, I enjoyed seeing Vince. Finally, I think. And I was curious. I wonder if this man is still in shape. And yes, he is. He's still in shape. Even though it's wobbly, but he's still in shape. You know, for 76 years old. You know, almost hitting 80. I was expecting Shane, to be honest. I thought I was going to see Shane coming up, but no, it didn't happen. So I'm kind of glad it didn't. But what a career highlight for not only just McAfee, but for Austin Theory too. Getting involved in the McMahon storyline, Vince, picking him to be involved in his storyline and to be his successor, to be his chosen one, like how he had Drew McIntyre. Now this is his Austin Theory is the chosen one. So I'm looking forward to how they're going to continue with this. So I cannot wait to see Raw tonight. To see, normally I never say that because I don't never watch 3 hours of Raw. I watch the highlight of it. But tonight I will sit down for 3 hours and watch Raw because I want to see Cody. I want to see who else comes out. Maybe Ciampa we might see debuting tonight in the main roster. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. So that's what I'm looking forward to see the Raw after WrestleMania. That's probably why I enjoy it the most. And but yes, great stuff from Vince and Austin. Great send-off. And of course, I don't think we're going to see this again. I don't think we're going to see it in LA. I think this time we're going to see The Rock and Vince this time having their moment like this instead of Austin. Austin had his in Texas. And now we're going to see Dwayne The Rock Johnson having it here. Yes, Mike, we'll be there for Mania since it's in our hometown, Los Angeles. Main event time. And Devin, I know you're here because you're watching. The Tribal Chief, of course, defeating Brock Lesnar, becoming the undisputed, unified, universal WWE Universal Champion, I guess you could call it. The The match, I'll give my 2 cents. I was not bad. There was a couple of spots though that I think they kind of botched. It did look like Roman did get hurt when he was telling Paul Heyman, "It's separated. My shoulder's gone. My shoulder." And I hear Heyman, "No, my tribal chief, you got this. You can stand, my tribal chief." I just saw that. Like,
I died at that one.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's legit hurt.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because it looked like the Kimura. I guess when Lesnar caught him, I think he was too stiff on it, and I think he did hurt him.
Mhm.
And when
there's a bump on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he did mention that, like, oh shit, and then I see, I swear it's like a movie, because just seeing Heyman, you can do this, you got to do it for the tribal chiefs, you need to stand, get up. I just hear Heyman just going off. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's like a superhero villain movie shit. And of course Roman with the win. But one thing that the camera didn't catch, but Michael, I think, and Saxon said it, I think one of them did, that he put his shoulder back. Like he was holding the ropes. I guess he separated his shoulder. I don't know if he dislocated, but someone mentioned, if you listen to the commentary, that he popped it back in. So, and then that's why he was having a hard time, putting his other arm up. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he did really should have got hurt. So, here we go. I want to. What are you saying now? Let's see. God mode. Oh man, I'll say this much and save the rest for my show. The match was just okay. What? Okay, I cannot wait to hear what you gotta say, Devin. I am curious. But what a great way to end it. But what's next for Roman and for Brock? Should this be over? Should this be the closing chapter of their feud? And if it is so, what's going to be next for both of these individuals? Mm-hmm. So I'll take it to you, JD. Your thoughts of the main event and what's next?
Devin might have been mad at me because I voted for Lesnar to win. So I wasn't, and then on top of that, I said I wasn't really excited to see this match, because while Roman and Lesnar has chemistry once it comes to building a feud between them two, when it comes to their match, it's pretty much the same cookie cutter. Brock gets offense first, goes to the corner, shoulder tackles, a bunch of suplex. Let's go to Suplex City. Then Roman gets some offense in, gets some Superman punches. Lesnar does a F5, and then Roman kicks out, and then kind of like hawks up, and then the match kind of goes from there. The only difference with this time versus when they first went against each other at WrestleMania 31 was that Roman still talked a bunch of shit in the ring and stuff like that. And I shouldn't have been laughing because he was actually hurt, but I was cracking up when he was like, "Paul, my shoulder, it's out," and Paul's like, "You could do anything, my tribal chief, just hold on maybe longer." And I'm sitting here like, Paul, he's actually hurt. Like, you can stop with the character work. I know the camera's right there, but he's like, "Just hold on strong, my tribal chief. Think of your family. Think of the bloodline." Roman. And I felt bad for Roman, but I had no choice but to laugh because he was just like, "Paul, my shoulder, it's out. It's really out." And all right, good. I'm glad that we're still cool. But the match really didn't do a lot for me because it wasn't really that much of a difference from what we've been seeing between these two. And I felt as though they could have definitely had switched it up. Maybe Roman comes out with the offense, kind of take us by surprise, like they did with Lesnar versus Goldberg. Kind of switch it up because, once I saw the beginning of it, I kind of was like, it was just like, all right, you're kind of going through the motions and you're waiting for the last few moments of the match to see, okay, who's going to win from there. I understand why they unified the titles. I don't really agree with it because I feel as though now there's going to be such a bottleneck of people who are going to be in the main title picture that, like we felt with the Royal Rumble, everyone else is going to feel like mid-card until they decide to pick up one or two people to kind of add into the mix. So now I kind of figured I had Lesnar winning because I felt as though it's easier to get the titles off of Lesnar than it is with Roman Reigns. Because now it's like, okay, not even Brock Lesnar can defeat Roman Reigns. Who's going to defeat Roman Reigns now? I mean, he's going to be champion for a number of 2 years. And it's like, you can't sit here and tell me you're going to hold it all the way to next Mania to possibly The Rock or something. It's the roster will be completely depleted of any of any credibility as far as being a number one contender. And so I kind of had Lesnar winning this, hoping that, maybe Bobby Lashley would come back into the picture, take the title off of him. Because I feel as though Roman Reigns right now don't necessarily need the title for his character. Like you can be top of the game and not really have the title. You could say you're above the title. Really. I mean, Undertaker didn't have the title all the time, but it always felt like, main event type of nature whenever he is on the screen. Even with Lesnar, Lesnar didn't necessarily need the title, but it was just the way that he was booked. And so with this match felt like whatever, because like I said, it's been the same thing over and over again with suplexes and Superman punches and all the back and forth. My biggest thing is, where do we go from here? Is Lesnar going to stay around till SummerSlam and then we see him back next Mania season? Is this the end of it for him? With Roman Reigns, it's like, who's he going to go against now? It's too early to bring Braun Breaker into the picture, honestly. Do he go back with Seth Rollins, even though Seth Rollins could do something now with Cody? It's like, well, do Bobby Lashley now comes in, even though he just defeated Omos, and it feels like they can continue that feud. So it's just like, who's out there for him who isn't already involved in his storyline? But it's Raw after Mania. Raw after Mania, they throw things at the wall to see what sticks. The crowd will do whatever they do with it. So that's why I'm very interested in. And what happens now? What are we doing? Who's going to defeat Roman Reigns after 600 days of being champion?
And I think he's going to break the record, right? Because I think the one who holds it right now, as we speak, is CM Punk, I believe so, in WWE. And so I think Roman is going to be the one already going to break that record, already being the longest reigning champion.
Yeah, he's going to break it.
Yeah, he's going to break it.
Erase him from the history books.
I just hope they don't wait for next year. And I have a feeling they are going to do that. Something tells me he might drop it, but I don't know to who, and then win it back, and then go start all over again your number of days until that feud picks up with The Rock. Might see it by SummerSlam, or heck, maybe Survivor Series. We might see that happen. But that's what the way how it looks to me. That's they're heading that direction. Since Mania is here coming to LA, The Rock, Hollywood. It's so predictable, but I'm curious of how they're going to build up to that, and who should be the one dethroning Roman, first, and then regaining it back, because that is a long time for holding it for quite some time. Waiting for another year, like Jesus, that's a long time from now. I hope not, but we'll have to wait to see. Buddy Mike, your thoughts? Take it away.
Raw after Mania should be good. First one since 2019. Oh yeah, that's true, right?
That is true.
It's been a while. Yes.
Yeah.
A little thing called COVID.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I
As far as who's next, you know what? It's gonna be in Hollywood. Why not the A-lister himself, The Miz?
What?
Do it, Vince. Do it.
Do it, Vince. Do it.
No, I mean, yeah.
800 days to The Miz.
To The Miz, why not? Put it on season 3 of Miz and Mrs. No, it's interesting, and honestly, my pick all this time to end Roman's run here has been McIntyre. I feel he's the guy. I see him as honestly like either him or Randy Orton. I could see as credible people that are able to take the title away from him. I was about to say titles, but they're unified now. So yeah, so there's that, and it's a very, very interesting choice for them to unify them now. With such talent that's in there, and and I think about someone like Cody. I don't know. I don't see Cody taking it away from him from Roman. I could hope I'm wrong. You know, I'm a Cody guy, so hopefully, right, that they're able to build him up and you know, catapult him up to the sky and have him take out Roman. But other than that, man, it's gonna be tough. It is tough. They have a big problem here with Roman Reigns, and honestly, I don't know what the purpose is of them building him up so high above everybody else.
You're gonna get Devin pissed off right
Oh,
now.
no.
I'm waiting for him to comment.
It won't be the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last. So you know, I don't see what the purpose is of. I mean, is he that great? I mean, I don't know.
I'm waiting
Devin
for
right
you
now.
I'm like, oh, that's- I'm waiting for that. But you know what? Another thing where I'm curious now that they unified the belts, are they gonna make a new title for it? That's what I'm curious to see is how they're gonna, you know, present this new title. Are they gonna do it today? Hopefully, if we do see that. But do you feel like they should bring a new belt for it? They should make a different design, or you feel like it's gonna be the same but a different color with the still with the logo in the front? JD, what do you think they're gonna do with it? Should they make a new belt for that?
I think they're going to do what they've been doing this whole time, where they kind of like combine the two with it. Maybe they'll make the universal title. They could make the universal title the actual title, and then just kind of do what they did with the world heavyweight title, kind of like retire it and kind of like let it be that way. They can get their history that they really want to carry with that title, or they can combine the two. I mean, I really hope they don't do what they did last time and just have Roman Reigns walk around with two titles for like months and months on end until they decide to combine the belt, you know, down the line. Um, but yeah, and also what kind of piggyback what Mike was saying, I don't understand why. I can see why they build up Roman Reigns to be as big as he is because that's their golden child. But I don't understand why they've been doing it for so long. To where you're sacrificing the momentum of a lot of other people and sacrificing, like I said, the credibility of having number one contenders. I'm very interested on the booking of Cody Rhodes. I think he'll be fine now, but I'm so interested on once September rolls around, we're done with SummerSlam and everything like that, and we're in the dead zone that I like to call it of WWE of what are we doing at that point? That will be the true story of how the booking of Cody is going to be.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see how's it happen. Go ahead, man.
And to piggyback on myself, uh, I if you look back at the Attitude Era and at the height of it with Rock and Stone Cold, you had two stars. You had two stars that really like had that big giant star power, and it all led up to WrestleMania 17. You didn't need two belts. You only had one, right? They were able to balance everything and build up all the other side characters. You know, you had Mankind, Triple H, and all this and that. So it is possible to have a balanced roster of stars, not just one guy to fall back on, So that's the thing. And that's what I kind of like how I was saying earlier that, I wonder why they've just focused on this one guy. Even in the Ruthless Aggression era with Cena, you had Orton, you had CM Punk, you had all these other list of characters, right? Right now, it doesn't seem that way. It doesn't feel that way. So I can't help but wonder why.
Because he's the guy, not just the guy. He's the guy.
Oh, come on. Get him in an octagon with Lesnar, and he'll be out in 30 seconds.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we saw him take the Cobra lock, so, we saw what happened there.
We saw what happened. We saw Heyman. Come on, my tribal chief.
Right.
We see it
Saw what
happening.
happened there. But yeah, I feel the exact same way as far as the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression era. Like even the tag team division was good back then. There was, the women's division was not as good as it is today, but at least there was attention to it at that point. And even the mid card felt important as well. But yeah, you had Stone Cold, you had The Rock, but you also had Triple H, you had Chris Jericho, you had the tag teams. Like you had people who can, if Stone Cold or The Rock was to be injured for a little bit, you at least had other people that can kind of like go in there and kind of like carry the weight. Like you had Undertaker as well. You had going into the Ruthless Aggression era, you had Evolution, like, you had a lot of different people to kind of, like, be able to change in and out with, and with right now, if unfortunately if Roman's shoulder is that bad to where as though he needs surgery, what are they gonna do? They don't
Yeah,
really have
right.
credible people to really put the title on. They're just gonna immediately give it to Lesnar and, have him kinda go back and forth with it, but the issue with WWE is that they're not building up the next generation of big talent. Like, AJ Styles should be able to enter the title picture easily if they wanted to. Edge as well. Someone or even someone as good as Austin Theory should be someone who we could see easily get built up to enter the title picture. But because they built up Roman so high with this title reign and beating out everyone and beating out Lesnar and all these other people, it's like any person that they try to build up, it's like you can't really see it. If they were to do it with Cody tomorrow, it won't be believable because it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Roman Reigns been champion for almost 2 years now, and we're gonna have Cody kind of come in and try to take it down. Like if they were tonight with the crazy Raw after Mania, like okay, AJ Styles is gonna go against Roman Reigns. We already know who's gonna win.
Yeah.
What I really missed about the title picture is that it's something I kind of liked too with AEW is that you don't know who's going to win. Like you can say like, okay, I think it's going to be this person, but you can't like clearly call it like you can call a Roman Reigns match.
Right.
Kind of
I
takes the fun out
agree.
of it.
No, definitely. I agree with that. And that is very, very true. It does take the fun out of it, but I don't know. I'm excited to see these new chapters, and if that is see that's another thing too that you mentioned, like if that is announced barely that all Roman is actually really legitimate hurt, needs surgery. Wow, I don't know what they're gonna do. I think unless they bust a fatal 4-way, 5-way, how they did with Finn Balor, when he had to like relinquish the Universal and they made it like a fatal 4-way, I think, or 5-way, what it was, crown a new world champion. So I'm hoping that's not the case. No, Devin, I'm not wishing your tribal chief bad.
We're
No,
not saying that.
I'm
We're not saying that.
I'm not
Just
saying that.
hypothetical.
Exactly.
If Roman wants to take a vacation, like he technically can't right now.
Yes.
He wants to take the wife out somewhere. He can't do that. He has to show up on Monday and Fridays now.
Exactly.
Probably Tuesdays if they could.
Oh my God, right? But overall, what a WrestleMania. So any final thoughts? Let's say your best moment of Mania overall for both nights. So I'll take it back to you, JD. Final thoughts of Mania. Your favorite moment for those past two, the past 2 nights. Which one was your like number one for sure? That is a highlight.
I thoroughly enjoyed WrestleMania. I felt as though, like I said, the actual show was a lot better to the build. Like this year around, especially the fact that we had full fans back, it didn't really feel like the WrestleMania feeling that we would get, every year before the pandemic, I guess I should say. As far as the top moments, um, I would have to say I love the segment with Stone Cold and everything like that. But for me, I would have to say Bianca and Becky, because uh I'm a big Bianca fan and I loved her entrance, the gear and stuff like that. And I love the way that they built her up since she came from NXT. I feel as though she is out of the people that came out of NXT recently. She is one of the people who has been built up very well.
Agreed.
Even though she lost, like you got mad, like it was upsetting, but I'm happy that this led to this moment here Now she is a 2-time champion. Definitely the face of WWE right now. But right there would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Seeing him coming back, not just like a one-off appearance like we've been seeing with past WrestleManias, but him actually having a match, seeing him having the time of his life, giving stunners to everyone and everything, and even the moment between him and Vince McMahon kind of like take you back to, the Attitude Era days. But it was a very fun ride. There were moments, there were matches that should have been left to SmackDown and Raw, and there's matches that should have been added to this WrestleMania. But overall, like, I thoroughly enjoyed the WrestleMania weekend. I can't wait for Raw after Mania, to see what happens tonight with the crazy crowd, and then to see what's going to happen with LA Mania. I was thinking of going to LA Mania, but I'm waiting to see where they're going for WrestleMania 40. Because so a little tidbit, I'm the same age as WrestleMania, so I'm waiting to see what WrestleMania 40 is going to be, to see if I should go to that WrestleMania or if I may go to LA Mania. But I'm still, I don't know about the 2-night thing. It's too much pressure to figure out which night to go to.
I know, right? I would feel that I think 40 they're gonna host it in Madison Square Garden. I think they're gonna have it there. They're gonna have to. I mean, you have your Mania 1.
Yeah.
You have your Mania 1 at Madison Square, and 40 have it there. I thought they were gonna do that for 30, and then finding out they did it in New Orleans.
New Orleans. Yeah, I was at that one. That was fun.
I'm pretty sure. Oh my god! But it'll be my bucket list will happen next year. 38. Mike has been already to Mania, so he had that experience already. He was there when Seth Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank and won the belt, so he was there. So
yeah, I was at the one where Taker lost the streak. And I went there to see Undertaker at WrestleMania. So yeah, but at least I got to see the Yes movement in full effect and everything like that, and the Ultimate Warrior going into the Hall of Fame that year. And I went to that Raw after Mania with his last appearance, so that was very bittersweet, because he was the one that got me into wrestling in the first place. Him and Macho Man, their match at SummerSlam. Yeah. So them two seeing him, live was very bittersweet. But I'm hoping to go to another one to experience, different city and stuff like that. So I'm waiting to see what they're going to do for 40.
All right. If not, if they have something good for 38, come along. We'll be here.
This is the one I was thinking of going. I was like, I've never been to the West Coast, so you go over to the West Coast, things like that, and experience LA and all this other stuff. But yeah, the 2-night, I don't know about the 2-night thing. I'll feel too pressured to want to go to both nights, because I'll feel like I'll miss something on the other night, especially if you choose the wrong night. If you chose night 2 this weekend, you've been pretty disappointed to miss all that happened in the first night. So I just didn't want. And then the same thing happened last year with the 2 nights. Night 1 was better than night 2, so it's just like that, trying to get a psychic or somebody to help me predict which night to go to. So yeah,
we'll have to wait and see. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, which ones were your favorite, best moment for the Mania weekend?
You know what? Odds are that the first night is always going to be better at this point. And it seems like they like now that system of doing 2-nighters. So, I mean, LA can't wait. But as far as this one, Cody, I said it before, man. You know what? Seeing AEW Cody in WWE at WrestleMania, that was it for me, man. I'm a Cody guy through and through. So that for me was a great moment, and probably the top one, I would say. No offense, Mr. Austin, don't stun me. So it's all good. I'll buy your lager. But yeah, that was it for me, and I can't wait for 39. It's here at home. I'll be there both nights, all 3 with NXT and Hall of Fame and all that stuff.
There's gonna be a lot more WrestleCon
yes.
LA. So
yes,
a lot of going on, especially Raw After Mania. Definitely go to a Raw After Mania. That's
oh my goodness.
most fun I ever had.
Oh wow. Yes.
Oh,
everybody fandangoing and stuff.
Yeah,
so you know, they were like, yeah.
I cannot wait. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I forgot to give mines. Austin, I want to say. I mean, I grew up. I'm a huge Austin fan. I would, for me to have a tear in my eye crying for Austin. So I was like, oh my God, just don't hurt yourself. I didn't sit down at all. I was just had my broken skull, my whiskey, and I was just like, oh my God, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. And he didn't. So I'm happy. That's my highlight at the moment for the Weekend Mania. Night one, of course, sold the show. And it looks like it might continue that way every year. Unless they find a way how to balance it out, but we'll have to wait to see how they do this. So hopefully, let's say LA Mania will be better, more stupendous than this WrestleMania.
They'll come up with another trigger word.
I know, right? I'm looking.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Star-studded.
There you go.
Charismatic.
Yes, I hope they go with that one. E-list.
They probably, yes, they will. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody who actually tuned in and watching, and also tuning everybody that came in on earlier. Good brother Bo from Dirty Heels, of course Kenny from the Call Up, and of course George McKay from Straight Talk Wrestling. Don't forget the description below. You can follow them on their social media platforms. Subscribe to their channel because they provide you also, besides here, us as well, but they provide you great pro wrestling content for all of you guys there. And the Queen of the podcast, of course, herself, the mini host on Straight Talk Wrestling. But also JD. And I know something's coming up, I think tomorrow, correct? What is coming up on this show tomorrow? Because I'm excited to hear it. I think the world is excited. So let the people know where they can find WrestleBread and what's coming up for WrestleBread tomorrow.
So what's coming up? So WrestleMania season is always exciting for me. Yeah, WrestleMania was stupendous. I hated the word stupendous by the time we got to Mania, but I was like, okay, it was actually stupendous. I was pleasantly surprised that they got me to use the trigger word. But WrestleMania season is always special to me. It always falls, near my birthday. And now the podcast anniversary is around this time. So tomorrow is actually the 3-year anniversary of the podcast. I will be doing a live stream on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I'll also be doing an Ask Me Anything. You can ask me questions about wrestling, with WWE, AEW, with gaming, football, whatever. And I will also be recapping WrestleMania and Raw After Mania on there as well. You can find me on Twitter at JDC137. That's the letter C137. You can also find the podcast at WrestleBread as well. You can click the links to find the Instagrams, Facebook, the YouTube channel. New episodes come out every Monday, but because of WrestleMania and everything, it's been coming. New episodes come out like Tuesdays or Wednesdays to try to recap Raw. Thanks. Clark Street Wrestling. I hope to see everyone there. Stop by, ask a question, or give me your opinion on how you felt about WrestleMania, which was actually stupendous.
And we will be there. I'll be there because I'll be 2-year anniversary. That's how I'm going to be, the 2-year anniversary for sure. But yes, the description is right below as well, where you can subscribe to WrestleBread podcast. The JD does a phenomenal job. I enjoy listening to her every Monday, how she had it, or Tuesday or Wednesday, but I enjoy it. And also her little moments, she has a slice of bread with JD, so you have that too. I like that. That's very catchy. I really love that. How you came with that idea. A slice of bread. That's right. I love it.
Yeah, it's something a little to do. I tried to do a little more with the YouTube channel. So I put out like a weekly segment of me kind of like giving my opinion of whatever, crazy thing is going on. It's been a lot more of AEW talk with it than WWE, because it comes out right after, the day after Dynamite, so I kind of like touch base with that too. But yeah, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel to and hit the notification bell so you can find out when it comes out.
That is right. Money Mike, where can they find us?
Oh, of course, you could find us on Spotify, YouTube, all of the above, of course, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is like I lose track all the time. But if you join us, welcome aboard. And because we don't only make podcasts here, what do we do, Mr. Ivan?
We, all of us here at the League of Extraordinary Podcast as well. We all make history here, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure right below is everybody's YouTube channel, their link tree, the description on the YouTube. Subscribe to all these phenomenal League of Extraordinary podcasters because they provide you the best pro wrestling content out there for you guys. Once again, I want to thank JD for taking the liberty of time and joining in. I love you, appreciate you very much for coming in, JD. And of course, Money.
Invite.
Of course. You're my family. You already know. And of course, Money Mike, of course, the most violent podcaster of all podcasts. See, your steam went down because George is no longer here.
Yes, it's just, give me a few minutes.
Let's see. There you go. And of course, Devin, we missed you here, but I'll be tuning in. I'll be watching your recap of WrestleMania. I want to hear what you got to say about the Tribal Chief. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, au revoir. Good night, goodbye, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.